good afternoon, good evening, good day, and all of the things, wherever you are. Pierre is on his way. He is going to be 10 minutes late, or probably less. He'll be here very, very shortly. So I'm just going to try and hold the fort for 10 minutes until he gets here, because this podcast is mainly about him and his experience in Greece, which sounded wonderful, wonderful. I think he had a lovely time and cannot wait to return. So in the interim, and he said he'd be 10 minutes late. So if you've got any questions or anything you want to talk about, or any books you want to recommend me, or films you want to recommend me, we can hold the fort. The fort. We can hold the fort. Yes, that makes way more sense, Sandy, than what I said. We'll hold the fort. You and I, me and you, we can do this. Kim is here. She says, good evening, you gorgeous humans. VW says, did P make it back to Prague? He is back in Prague right now in his spiritual home, soaking up the Bohemian medieval chi vibes and recovering from I saw some of his live streams when he was in Santorini, so was recovering from his painful traumatic self-birthing experience. Have you listened to Mark Passio? I haven't, no. That name rings a bell. What does he usually talk about? The Bodhi Abide says, my past comment got abbreviated. We're saying, how did Richie's membership go so bad when everyone here is so great? The people who are here on Tentacle Question is a different group to the people who gravitated towards the membership site. I think I said it elsewhere. I think it's a little bit of the zeitgeist. Like, people are quite, generally speaking, everything is dialed up, so people are quite stressed, and the level of, if you imagine like a personality has different traits and you've got dials for the different traits, so humility is being dialed right down, compassion for others has been dialed right down, manners, like, people are just wild with the way that they speak to each other, and of course it's the internet, and so people are a little bit more flagrant online, but it's a strange time to be alive, a very, very strange time to be alive, for sure. And I think that manifested in what we did there. Are you familiar with Gad Saad or Michael Malice? Yes, I'm familiar with both. I like listening to them both speak. Wait, where is Pierre? Says Jan Rose. Pierre's coming. He'll be here within the next few minutes. It's just a little bit late. Mark Passio is an ex-Satanist who talks about the agenda, basically. He has lectures for 8 hours. Wowie. Respect, RG. I strongly recommend you check out Mr. Robot. Yeah, I like Mr. Robot a lot for a couple of seasons, and then it hit this weird season where it started to make some very, very strange narrative decisions, and I tuned out. Same thing happened with Orange is the New Black. I was like, okay, we've obviously got material here for 3 solid seasons, but then the network just wants it stretched out for 7, and it just becomes garbage. You know, something that is genuinely really good, if it's spread too thin, even with good writing and good comedians holding it up and everything, it just, you know, you need to know when you're done, and you need to leave with grace. And when they're wafting like millions of dollars in front of you, it must be really hard to just be like, oh no, I won't bother with that. But, you know, you have to, really. Have you watched Black Sails? I think I tried. I think I struggled with the first episode and turned it off. Someone suggested Raised by Wolves to me, but I haven't seen it yet. Have you seen that? I haven't. No, I haven't. Thoughts on the UK vaccine passport for nightclubs? What the UK government is doing is sheepdogging they're barking and around the sheep and nipping at their heels. And there's one demographic that just hasn't taken up the jabs in the way that they wanted, and that's the young. So they're saying something rather strange, which is that between now and September, you can go to nightclubs, but come September, you will need to be double jab vaccinated. Based on the UK government's history up until now, I would suggest it's a bluff. Probably what you'll find is as we get into September, they might just shut the nightclubs anyway. As we get closer and closer to flu season, I'll be amazed if nightclubs are open in September and October of this year. Amazed. So it would be a moot point. I think it's sheepdogging. I don't think anybody really thinks that the UK can really enforce a discriminatory policy that demands that you have an experimental medical procedure. If they do, they would have transgressed a boundary historically that cannot, you can't unring that bell. So for now, it's probably a blag. And then when we get closer, they'll be like, yeah, you've got to be double vaccinated or a PCR test within the last 3 days. They're slick, aren't they? They're slick. Your Highness says, hello, Richie. Your Highness, hello. They're always trying to manufacture consent. Insert Chomsky impression here. Oh, is this the end of this culture? Yes. I always get notifications, pure late, mate. Questions usually at the end. Yeah, I know, it's terrible, isn't it? Yeah, never mind. Go and have your tea now. You can catch us next time. Owen Thomas says, yeah, that's what I thought. It's an incentive and a deterrent to get young people to take it up. If they put it into law, wouldn't it be discrimination? It's not lawful. It's just, it's outside the boundaries of British law. You can't do it. It's not workable. You can, of course, rewrite new laws in emergency situations. But as I understand it, the weight of pressure not to transgress that boundary would be very, very strong. You've got to remember the power of pressure groups, particularly religious pressure groups, who might, their religion might, or their beliefs might state that they don't want to get vaccinated. Are you going to discriminate against them? I mean, the UK government isn't the most courageous and aggressive. It's not like it has the courage of its convictions. So I don't see them pushing it through if the religious pressure groups pipe up. Hey, how long do you think it's going to last? How long do I think what is going to last? Your enslavement and tyranny? This is it now. It's a 1,000-year Reich. Submit. Learn to speak Mandarin. Thoughts on the recent global shutdown of major websites? Well, given the overarching sort of theme of where everything's going, and the agenda that it indicates, it would be a bit strange to just let people speak freely and share information freely, wouldn't it? So yes, I can see many avenues of free and open communication being shut down as we move closer and closer, step by step, to a more Chinese version of doing things. I've always liked the CCP, I'd just like to say. Welcome to my country. If you're just joining, this will not be me. Pierre is coming. Oh. But he's a little bit late. He'll be here soon. Bonjour, Richard. Où est le flippy lorday? Il vient maintenant. That's all the French I've got. Sean Atwood's channel was taken down. What? When? The age of China domination has arrived, says the Pam. Have you heard the song Fake Woke by Tom MacDonald? Pierre frequently recommends Tom MacDonald to me, but I heard No Lives Matter. I haven't heard Fake Woke. How's it going, mate?
I fucking love it here, Richard. Oh my
Glad to
God,
hear
bro.
it.
I'm so happy to be here. It's seriously been only positive experiences since I've stepped foot off of the plane.
Okay, it's an overwhelming relief to be back in the motherland.
Oh my God, Richie, this is my home forever. Like, even with my past lives, my future lives, eternity as a floating ball of consciousness, there is nothing that will ever touch my spirit like this city. It's it
You're
is
the reincarnation of King Rudolph, and you finally come home to your alchemical playground.
King Rudolph II has no business in a fucking island in Greece. I'll tell you that much. Like, holy shit. Like, I'm sure at least a quarter of the people here saw my utter meltdown during the last week in Santorini on that godforsaken island.
I saw some of it. Listen, I'm doing my writing thing at the moment, and they keep giving me instructions where they say if you're going to tell a story, you have to ask the two questions: what was it that happened, and what did you learn? So let's start. Tell us, Pierre, what happened. Start from the beginning.
Okay, there's so fucking much, man. Like, I don't even know where to begin. But
Why did you choose Santorini, by the way?
Okay, so before I answer that, I just want to give everybody an update since I got back here, since at least a quarter of the people have followed the whole journey. But the moment I get back, police officer checks my passport, just looks at it and just lets me through. I go to the passport control. Dobry den doesn't even look at my passport, just opens the gate. Just and from those two moments, I'm like, this is what it's like to be accepted. I am never taking any of this for granted ever again. Like, the guy didn't even look at my passport. He was just like, "Oh, you belong here. Open." I'm like, sure. Anyways, so why did I pick Santorini?
Mm-hmm.
Because of our shared trauma of being locked down in the bitterest of winters and not even being able to go to the neighboring cities out here. I felt like the urbanized medieval environment over a period of time was just too oppressive, and it just, I mean, you know what it was like, so at a certain point I'm like, maybe for me and you, it's better to go to a sunny place after all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Something in just complete opposite change of scenery, like an island with the Santorini's architecture, the white Minecraft cubes up on the cliffside, like beautiful blue ocean type of a thing. And in my head, through anybody's head, any sane person would conclude that that is the conclusion of what you need to do after being stuck in an urbanized environment.
Mm. Mm.
But little did I know.
What was the factor that you found when you got there that you hadn't accounted for before you got there?
How do I talk about these things without it making it seem like I'm anti-Greece? You know what I mean? Like,
you can go full anti-Greek, and then we can just at the end of it say, Yasu Malakas. We all love a bit of Uzo. Fuck
Malacca.
off.
I learned Malacca a lot. And the thing is, it's like the way I look at it is just like certain places are just made for certain people. This is King Rudolph, Edward Scissorhands looking motherfucker, like going to Greece and the Greek island. Like, I have no business there. I'm a fucking vampire, It's like, what am I doing here? I mean, first of all, it's hot as fuck. And I don't like hot climates. I've officially concluded. This is the sun, the sun, he's being shredded alive. And then on the approach to Athens, being the capital of Greece, it felt a lot like the industrial parts of LA. It's really industrial. It's really kind of run down. The streets are unrepaired. Some places don't got sidewalks. People driving on the sidewalk. They're not even waiting for pedestrians. Like, I felt like at least 60-70% of it was just cars most of the time. Didn't feel good, man. So
was it? So we would say that was a bit of a trigger for you.
To start off, to put it lightly, that was just the beginning.
The overall LA-ishness was not a good start.
Just from the beginning, yeah. The hotness and the driving, the cars and all of that stuff. And then, of course, it was high seasons. It was 36 degrees Celsius, 96 degrees Fahrenheit, sweating my nutsack off. Like, it was so hot. I'm walking through the flea market pretending like I actually enjoy shopping, just because that's what you're supposed to do there. I walked up to the Parthenon, paid us like 20 euro to get to see the Parthenon. Did you know that?
No, I've never been to Athens. Everybody who's been there tells me it's quite disappointing.
It's 20 euros to walk up that hill to see the ruins up there, man. And half of it is literally just rocks. Like,
right.
And the Parthenon itself was pretty grand, pretty amazing, but the slew of Westerners just with their neon clothes just really kind of puts you out of the mindset to enjoy it,
They should make those fuckers wear togas.
Dude, I actually, like, I've thought about this before. What if at touristic sites, you could rent out some sort of garb that works with the environment?
It would totally work. It would 100% work. People would not just do it begrudgingly. People would love to do it.
Yeah.
Like if you went to the Alhambra in Spain and you had to dress in like old Moorish flowing robes because it's cooling, and then you don't have to look at you don't have to see branding and shit clothes and modern clothes. Yeah, no, I think that would really, really help.
I think it makes a big difference, man, because there's something about modern clothes that just completely takes you out of some ancient historical site.
Yeah, it's offensive.
By the way, are you doing gin today or are you not? Are you off of it?
I was gonna do it, but work-wise, I had a tough day, and I'm like, it's probably best if I stay sober.
But that's why you should, because if you had a hard work day.
No, Richard's taking a long walk and having a conversation with God later.
Okay, fair enough. What did you do?
Oh, it's I'll bore everybody with the details of that later on.
Okay.
So you went from Prague to Athens. You land in Athens. It's 36 degrees C, which 36 degrees C is different in different places in the world. I don't know Athens, but I know Zante. 36 degrees there will be like it is here. Anything above 31 in Ibiza, and it's quite uncomfortable. It's not like Death Valley dry heat or Arizona.
Yeah,
it's I don't know. It can be quite. It gets irritating. You start to get irritated.
It's dry heat plus just a hint of humidity, like a questionable, is it actually humid or not? And then the amount of concrete there.
Yeah, that's
just an oven. It's a clay oven.
It's an oven.
And then the cars, it's like so many cars, man. It reminded me a lot of Los Angeles. The cars, the concrete, the buildings, just keeps all of this heat in there.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't nice. And then I'm going to try to go to a restaurant, and I don't know if it's literally only me, but I hear Greeks are super hospitable and warm and nice. I did not get any of that. There was none.
The other place, I've been to Zante and worked there. I've been to Thessaloniki on an internet hookup once. I'm not proud of it, but it happened. And the only place I've ever had consistently worse service was in Albania. People loathe you for entering their business and trying to give them work. They loathe you.
No, they fucking hate you. It's a damn shame, because the food, objectively on its own, was the best food I've ever eaten in my life.
It's got to be some of the best cuisine in the world. Greek cuisine really is special.
There's nothing that compares to it. I've had great meals out here and other places I've traveling. Nothing matches. The food is the portion sizes are great. They're big. Yeah. Everything is cooked perfectly. I didn't have one bad meal.
Okay.
That's good. Humans being emotional creatures, we associate the whole experience with the food.
You would have taken a slightly worse meal for a few more smiles.
Yeah, I'm not even asking for rock star treatment, bro. Just don't make me feel like the napkin that you're cleaning up, Yeah,
that's how everybody is sort of treated. So in Albania, when I went into a restaurant on my own, I was just getting ignored. And I was actually supposed to work for this small, I ended up working for a small news channel there. And the girls that I worked with, when they went into a restaurant, the level of hostility with which they spoke to the staff, I was appalled by. But I'm well, they're being dicks. So I guess you
Yeah.
kind of so nobody's being a dick. If everybody's being a dick, then
Right.
nobody's being a dick. That's just how you talk to each other.
Something I've learned out there, you have to be pushy as fuck. Like, you know, you have the stereotypes of Southern Europe, like Spain, Italians, and Greek, and you just hear, and I've always wondered why they do that.
Right.
I started doing that when I was there.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir. My address is right here. What do you do? And then they finally kind of get it by then.
Yeah. There's no place for any sort of, you know, British or Midwestern reserve or just you know, polite. You know. So
I briefly met a girl there, and she actually was like a viewer of mine. I think she kind of stalked me a little bit, but let's just say we still talk. And I was like kind of asking her about the people and the temperament out here, and she straight up said to me word for word, like, they find politeness pretentious here.
It's the center of philosophy and culture of the globe. What?
Dude, I don't know what the fuck happened, but I thought that I would run into some Socratic method, a little bit of fucking Aristotle. No, it was go fuck yourself. You shouldn't be here the whole time.
I think the nation has been through a lot, and you get that, you know, like Albania has as well, and you sense it in some places. Romania, like the nation's been through a lot, and politeness just is surplus to requirement at this point. And also, I've had Greeks say to me, like, once you get past the impenetrable wall of rudeness, you have a drink with them and a bit of a chat, and they like you. Like, Greeks have complained to me like that their sense that they've lost their own culture, and they'll be like, it infuriates me. I had one guy say this to me. He said, it infuriates me that you as a Brit know more about Greek culture and about Greek gods than we ever learn in school. And I'm like, what? So we don't learn it. It's not covered. We don't learn any of it. We learn none of it. That's really strange.
What the hell? Yeah, because I'm thinking of like, when did they lose all that? Like, what happened? You know, like, what the fuck?
It's not like you can point to Romania or point to Albania and go, well, this is Stalin. The commies did it. That didn't happen in Greece. So I don't know. I mean, you know, I'm sure somebody in the comments will tell us afterwards.
Somebody literally just asked, how did you get along with the taxis? The moment I arrived, totally got ripped off by like the most crude Greek man. You want to see some pussy? You go over here and you get some pussy or cocaine. Is good. It's great. Just fucking scam the fuck out of me. Like, bro, that was like, welcome to Athens, bitch.
Yeah.
You know? So
that's rough.
It was like literally just being sent through a meat grinder. Like, that city felt like a fucking meat grinder to me.
Yeah.
And from there, I thought going to the island would maybe fucking uplift shit. You know, like I walked into a travel agency, which was actually a call center. So you're supposed to call, not fucking show up. You know.
Yeah.
And I go there, and then I'm trying to book the fucking thing. The guy didn't not like me either, but he still did his job okay.
Yeah.
I take a fucking 5-hour ferry. I run into two Americans. I'm gonna not bore you with the details, but they're on the opposite side of the line, and I was like, "So hey, excuse me, guys, are you waiting in line now?" They literally say, "Oh no, man, we're just waiting here for fun."
Whoa. That's a Joe Pesci moment waiting to happen.
I wanted to take my fucking hand through their mouth, out the ass, like just fucking fist through their entire fucking body. Like, I was so fucking furious. I literally said, okay, well, the line I believe starts here because of the markings. So if you want to come in line, you can wait here. And then he goes behind me. He's like, okay. And at the end, he goes, ah, nice, man. Looking down. And as he's looking down, I literally stare at him. Yeah, nice, huh? And I'm just staring at him. And he's looking away the whole time. And then his friend goes, oh, yeah, sorry, man. I just wanted to apologize. Yeah, I think we're in the wrong here. So I'm sorry about that. Immediately go to sit down. Greek grandma goes, Malaka, I waited a whole 4 seconds. Sorry, do you speak English? I look over to the other passengers. Can you please help me here? What's going on? She says that you are in her husband's seat. I look at my ticket. Her bags are in my actual seat. And I'm sitting in the only open one. But her purse was in my own seat. And it was my fault. So stuck on this fucking ferry for 5 hours, bro. And it's just like constant passive aggressive hostility. Like throughout this entire fucking thing, I end up in Santorini. I'm willing to pay a bit of extra this fancy dinner. People are like, go fuck yourself. Eventually some waiter goes, oh, who are you from? I was like, California, and I live in Prague. Oh, are you like Kung Fu Master or Karate King? Yeah, box and stuff here, and you know, they paid and I left, and I'm like, wait a minute, is that okay?
Well, it's not necessarily racist. It's just pretty dumb.
Yeah, but before that, when I was in the shuttle, the bus, right? There was 3 Asian people in front of me. And then the guy comes, oh, so you 4, where are you all going? I'm like, okay, this is an easy mistake to have. Just take a step back. I'm not with them, please.
Yeah.
And then when we all get in the bus, the guy, we've already told them all of our destinations too. So they should know. The guy driver should know. He misses my first. I'm the first one. I'm the closest one, like 20 minutes away. He misses it completely. And I'm like, what the fuck? What's going on here? And he starts dropping off the other 9 passengers, leaves the rest of the Asians on the bus, drops the 3 off, and I had to come up and be like, bro, this is not my stop.
Yeah.
I told you here. I'm dropped here. And he's like, okay, but this is not here. You are over here. I know. You're supposed to fucking take me there, bitch.
I'm not there because you didn't put me there.
Yes!
I didn't just materialize at the end of your journey, at the end of your shift in your fucking stupid bus.
Why are you fucking mad at me for you the one driving, dude? So anyways, like, man, I mean, I'm not going to just continue with a monologue here.
But that was the theme. It was nothing was smooth. Everything was.
It was just one fucking passive-aggressive jab, a dismissal, a complete neglect in a lot of ways. Just and then you had the opposite end of the locals were the fucking arrogant, entitled Westerners, like the rich Californians over there too, that looked at me as if I was the fucking plague. I have an image of literally a woman just like.
I saw it. The thing with Santorini, I've never been. I nearly went with a girl, and we didn't go. It all went wrong. But the impression I've gotten is it's kind of like the Marbella of Greece. It's sort of like the posier, higher end, a bit more expensive and more Instagram influencer, but wealthy Instagram influencer style thing.
It was all Instagram influencers. Every fucking corner you see somebody with the booty out, fucking like some other shit. And it's amazing how I never realized the extent of the shallowness of like the Western mindset and the attitude until I left to go to Prague for 4 years and then put myself deep in it again. Because actually 90% of the island were just other Americans, like rich influence. I only heard American accents and other Greek accents.
Incredible. So there's no Brits there, nothing.
No, actually, no. It was as if like the attitude that I can sense was like it was like these Orange County Americans viewing Santorini as an extension of Orange County. Like we're just taking like a 14-hour plane or 10-hour plane ride to the Orange County Island or something. They view it as a big country club type of thing.
Did you unconsciously? Excuse me, I'm just plugging myself in here. Give yourself the toxic ayahuasca flush that your soul knew that you needed?
I told my therapist this morning.
What
Said the
did
same
you,
thing.
what'd
I
you
said
say?
I said that Santorini was the first half of an ayahuasca trip.
Oh, is that what you called it?
Yeah, yeah. It literally was like, I mean, the same terminology, a trip.
Yeah.
It was like facing all of the CPTSD that I experienced growing up in California. It validated it. It made me head first confront it, see it with my own eyes, with the age that I am now, demolish my entire ego, to
Mm,
be like treated so terribly, to be only seen as my race, to be having like these passive aggressive jabs about my race, not only with locals but the tourists as well. I literally moved to Prague to get away from so much of this, and I haven't experienced any of that since I started living in Prague.
talk a little bit about the race element. We won't dwell on it, but
Yeah.
we probably haven't. Like, people know, like the people who follow you properly, they know. But just for the people who might not know, talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, the race thing is important to talk about because you and me here and Tentacle Croissant in general, and even just who I am as a person, I rarely point to that as like a thing. Like, I'm
Mm,
always like willing to give the benefit of the doubt to other things before I just say it's racism, because we have enough of that now, you
mm,
know? So I was really blind in convincing myself that it really doesn't matter.
right.
Then you go to a place that's a little more traditional. Greece is actually way more traditional than I thought. It's pretty
Mm,
conservative. Even
mm,
tattoos, it's like
mm,
too much for them.
mm-hmm,
Going there and then going to a bunch of Americans that looked straight out of Orange County, same with accents and everything. They definitely, I know what they're like. Like, I lived with them, so I know what that's like. Then going and seeing face first, being called Kung Fu Karate Master, like being grouped with the other Asians. And then I remember after those situations, I actually looked up on Google, like, if anybody else has had rude experiences in Greece. And a lot of
mm,
people like, oh my God, they're like the most hospitable, friendly, warm people I have ever met in my whole life. And I'm like, what the fuck? What's going on here? Why am I? So I keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And then I get to a Quora that is some guy asking, do Greek women like Asian men, specifically Southeast Asian men?
mm.
And it was like a fucking 6-paragraph essay plus 15
From
other,
some traumatized dude.
like, yeah,
The
it was,
answer is no. Ah!
yeah. But these people weren't Asian. Like, they were Greek people, and they're like,
Oh,
I have Greek women as friends, and they have never expressed any attraction to any Asian men. If anything, what happens is we kind of look at them like tourists, and we have a lot of arrogant Chinese out here, and we can't really tell the difference. So blah 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 blah.
so he just said it himself.
Yeah,
Well,
shameless.
we can't really tell the difference, and frankly, we don't care.
Yeah, yeah. And then it was kind of mixed in with the other ones. If you look up like Santorini racism or Athens racism, it's usually by Asian people. The Asian people that write the reviews about it, stuff like that. So at that fucking point, I'm like, well, if the evidence like is evident,
Yeah, yeah.
what am I gonna do?
You got the
Like,
data.
race doesn't matter. No, in this situation, it's a huge component, man.
So there was actually being sort of treated dismissively and also being a little bit invisibilized as well.
Yeah, because coming from Prague, where everybody looks at me, whether it's good or bad, whatever. Girls obviously look at me. Okay, that happens here. And then for my fucking ego,
They've got eyes, haven't they, mate? They're only
yeah,
human.
yeah. So, so at first, like going to a place like that, and then not having any attentions, even specifically Asian, or not Asian, just female attention, was like, oh, whoa, that's different. But what I'm not gonna be like, the girls don't want to like me here. I'm really sad. I'm not gonna get laid. I was just like, oh, well, it's just part of being a part of a new place, whatever. And
But you was that specifically Greek women or American women?
it was both. It
Okay.
was both, because American women don't fuck, man. That's why I left that fucking place, man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're definitely not into this. And then Greek women as well, not really. I have some fucking minorities here and there that would.
Yeah.
But in general, I got no looks at all. I didn't really have the makeup on or anything because I was going to Greece, and it's like, you put this shit on, no one's gonna treat me any better. Are you kidding me? Like, they would just
Yeah.
fucking burn me at the stake, you know?
Um,
So
was
yeah.
that on a scale of depressing to anger inducing? Where did you sit on that scale?
As when like when the people aren't staring at me in general, or the
Yeah,
girl.
where it's obviously like there's something racial that's going on. Like how did you respond to that emotionally?
When I confirmed that it was, I
Yeah,
just went through like the craziest emotional fucking flashback. Like
sadness or rage?
both. Like
Both. Okay.
it was uprooting like all of the rage and depression that I had when I was in California.
Mm,
Like it all resurfaced, and I was like, fuck, I thought I healed this.
mm,
Like I really thought I came to terms with all of this stuff, and wasn't. Like I was just, here it is. Here it is again. How does it
yeah.
feel being completely fucking ignored?
Mm,
People are disgusted by you, or they just
mm,
lump you with another group.
mm,
No matter how hard you tried in the last few years to be an individual to stand out, doesn't fucking matter.
yeah.
All you are is this.
Mm,
Nothing, you know?
mm.
So I was just kind of like, fuck, fuck, you know? So at that point was like, I just confirmed, like, this place is just not for me at all. It really
Yeah.
isn't. Yeah.
Interesting though that, I mean, because I don't know. I don't know where else you could have chosen. I mean, I think as a generalization, probably a lot of Balkan countries are going to be a little bit that way.
Yeah.
But then I don't know that if you go to like a city in Croatia or like, I don't know, I don't know where it'd be different. But then when I turned it on its head on the basis of what I do know of Europe, you're kind of in the best place.
Right.
I wouldn't say to you like, oh, maybe if you went to Germany, maybe
Yeah.
if you went to like, what's a truly bohemian German?
Yeah.
Is it Munich or Berlin where people are all
Berlin.
Berlin?
But yes, yeah, I after that whole experience, I thought about a possibility of other places. There's nothing, not even Vietnam, not even Japan, not even Korea. Like those would be not even be good either.
Vietnam would be, I think, would be equally as torturous, but for different reasons.
Yeah, it's just my own fucking people judging me. Like that's even worse. I think I know what's gonna happen enough that I don't want to put myself there.
Yeah, you've already run the simulation.
Yeah, you want to go back to the motherland, Pierre? It's where your people are.
Yeah. But that's how I tend to feel when I go back to the motherland, especially the mother city. It's hard for me. It's hard.
Yeah. And it got me thinking about just the concepts of identity, geographical location, how these things can affect you and how you view yourself. Like it's funny because like the moment I got back here, getting these sweet reactions from the passport control and going to restaurants, people are super fucking open to me, and I had full on makeup. I came home, put full makeup on, wore what I usually wear, just eccentric ass shit, and I felt like me as like who I really am, and I'm in a place that would allow this to happen. Nowhere else would really feel the same,
I know that people are going to ask, excuse me, afterwards, well, the original plan was that you were going to go to Greece and then come here. And then halfway through the Greece experience, when it was pretty catastrophic, I did invite Pierre to come here. And he was just like, I just want to go back to Prague. I'm fucking done.
I wasn't that polite. I said, thanks, man, but I'm going to go the fuck home. Smiley, smiley.
So I did offer. I mean, as I said, I think I said to you via the Telegram voice notes, it would be different here. It would be different here, but there's still going to be an element of that because we still have chavs, we still have scallies, we still have like. But then, this is going to sound terrible, but the Brits aren't here as much now, so it's not as bad.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah.
So so that's what happened. And in the next part of our structuring of the story, what did you learn from that, do you think?
I learned that I fucking love this city. Like, oh my God. Like, there's a lot that I learned. And I basically talked about this with my therapist this morning too. Like, I realized how much better I feel is just in every way possible, just being here for even a night. Coming back, I get these messages, let's meet up. let's hang out, let's have a drink. And the moment I got back, someone decided to meet me, you know, just like, oh wow, I'm welcomed here and they like me, you know, and also another thing is a cliche thing, no amount of money could equate to actual human belonging and connection.
Yeah.
I mean, I spent a retarded amount of money on this whole fucking trip. Like Jesus Christ, you
It's
know.
good. It's good. It all adds to your scarring. It all
Yeah.
adds to your rebirthing.
It was the ultimate destruction of ego ever.
Yeah. You just carry that regret. It's
Yeah.
fucking manly as fuck.
Yeah, man. Like it's a chip on my fucking shoulder now for sure, man. You know? And just seeing like you spend all this money for this, you're in one of the famous, most fanciest islands, you're having these like really expensive meals. But I had more fun talking to a disgruntled Albanian waiter there than I did dining at some fancy restaurant with some sea bass.
Oh, you didn't tell these guys about the disgruntled Albanian waiter. You actually met someone nice.
I met an Albanian waiter. He seemed kind of interested, and we talked, and he really opened up, and he was basically talking about how much he fucking hates it too, and how his coworkers treat him like shit. He's really like pouring his heart out. He hurt his finger on something. Everyone didn't ask him how he was doing. They just wanted him to work more and all this shit. And I'm like, well, I'm glad I'm not the only one feeling like this out here, type of a thing. And we made a real connection, man. And you know, it's it felt real. Like it felt real. And then this kind of after all of this, I just look at situations like that and just having connections with people. And I mean, no amount of fucking money and pretentiousness could ever equate to this type of interaction, no matter what background they're fucking from, you know.
You live inside your own body and your own mind, and if you feel like shit in your body and your own mind, what difference does it make if you're rich? If you're walking around feeling like shit, it's not saving you, is it?
Yeah.
So that authentic connection is a big part of things, and feeling accepted is a big part of it. Prague is a very special city. It's a very very special city,
and it made me also realize how important environment is.
Yeah,
you know, the people that claim that environment doesn't matter, they're already in an environment that works for them.
Yeah, no, they're writing their books from a fucking 6-story mansion out in the countryside. Listen, pull yourself up by your own socks, inner city kids. Environment doesn't matter. Just work hard.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Like, obviously, it happens if you put yourself out there. You get a lot of people disagreeing with you and whatever else. And like, I see the comments like, but you chose to go there. It's your fault. You know, you ended up talking to them like this, and that's why they treated you like this. It seemed really nice to me. Why don't you just block out those negative ones and just be around the positive?
That's a really strange response to somebody's traumatic experience. Say again.
That's going through racism.
Yeah. Hi, I'm going through racism. Well, have you thought of not, Pierre?
Yeah.
Just
why don't
think
you
about it
not
differently?
go there? You know, and like I made many rageful rants here, but I was like, everybody is willing to go, Pierre, you shouldn't have went through, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't have said this. Why did you even pay attention to them? I was like, let me go to that Albanian waiter who moved there 3 months ago and just being shat on by his entire coworkers. And I go to the Albanian waiter. Have you thought of not being here? You chose to be here. Why don't you just ignore them? He's just trying to like make his fucking living like in a good way. It's like
I have to say it's a very strange response, mate. And I want everybody who's watching this to hear me. If you were one of the people who said that to Pierre, that's a very, very strange response. I'd even say it's a fucking telling response. Like, what is it that you're trying to suppress? What in Pierre's story raised an uncomfortable emotion in you that caused you to need to diminutize that experience instead of just listening, instead of just going, oh, that fucking sucks, that was the only thing you had to do. You didn't have to say, oh, maybe that's not it, or you could do this, or you could do that. Maybe you just fucking listen.
I said that in the middle of the rant. So after I said, what if I just told them, just don't be here. You chose Santorini. Work harder, make more money, ignore your coworkers. And in the rant, I said, you know what I did? I sat the fuck down while I'm even just trying to enjoy food, it was a bit much to hear over lunch. I will agree with that. But I still sat the fuck down and I just sat and listened. I just listened. Did I have to challenge the motherfucker? Like, why would I challenge him?
Well, why not just assume that he's telling the truth? Why would you challenge him? Exactly. Yeah. It's really fucking weird. That's a really strange response. I'm in pain. Well, maybe it's not pain. Have you thought about it this way? No, you fucking idiot. I'm telling, like, I'm not a liar.
So now that I have most of my subjective monologue out, we can talk about this type of circumstance in another perspective. Like, what do you think that is? Because I've actually thought about this too. Like, what makes people do that? What do you think that is?
I think I have I'm deeply suspicious. I know that to a carpenter, every problem is a nail and every solution is a hammer. But on this one, I think it's narcissism. I think that's narcissism. Yeah. It could be petite, little narcissism. It's something to do with the breaking boundaries where they're hearing, because they suffer from something called ideas of reference. If you're narcissistic, you think everything is about you. So you criticize a place. They're not even from the place. They're not Greek. They're not from Greece. You criticize it. And somehow through their delusional insanity that everything's about them, he's criticizing me. They may even not think that consciously, but unconsciously, their adrenaline spikes and they get anxious. And so they need to control your perception and to change your narrative. It's controlling rather than just saying, hey, I'm me, you're you. You didn't have a good time there. It's okay. Like, it's not okay that you didn't have a good time, but it's okay for me to sit and listen to you say that you didn't have a good time without trying to coerce the narrative.
That's fucking fascinating, man. They literally hear the tonalities and the unconscious energy of criticism, but they can't differentiate where that's directed. So they just hear it. It's me.
Yeah.
It's me.
It's me. You don't like me. I heard you say middle class people. So it's me. No. Yeah. There's a guy I listen to on YouTube now. He's been in prison. His name is Jay Williamson or Jay Williams. And his channel's called Let's Live Life. And when he tells stories about fake gangsters and fake gangs in prison, to cut off the comments being like, oh, I'm Aryan Brotherhood and we don't do that. He says, if it don't apply, let it fly. If it don't apply to you, then don't fucking respond. If you said, well, I met a white English guy and he was a cockface and I got upset about it, why am I like, if it doesn't apply, like, I'm not like that. So why am I going to get fucking upset about it?
Interesting.
If it don't apply, let it fly. That Albanian guy, could he have passed for Greek? Because you get Albanians who have the fair hair and bright blue eyes, and then you get darker skinned. He could have. So even passing for Greek, he still got loads of shit.
Yeah, totally.
The other thing is, and now let's just hit this race thing right on the head, because sometimes we have a conversation and we know the coordinates and we're being a little nuanced. Some people have never walked through a place where you can't change the signal that your face and your skin is giving out.
Yeah.
And they've never lived that. And they don't know what it fucking feels like. And they may never know what it feels like.
Yeah.
But it's like you're walking right. You can't hide. Like, unless you try to sort of do some weird racist thing where, like, when I was in Malaysia, I could have tried to look Malay or I could have tried to look Chinese. I never would, but I couldn't. I was walking through the wrong hoods. Yeah. What was I doing wrong? I was walking whilst pink. Yes. I was walking whilst white. Once you've lived that and you've gone, this is the only problem. There's no problem. These people don't know me, but they're kind of not happy because I'm white.
Yes, and let me add on to that experience. This shit happens everywhere. I'm well aware that I'm weird and look different from going to Santorini, even though it's a fucking tourist destination, which should attract a lot of people and they should be used to it. I don't know why the fuck it isn't. But like, when you walk through those hoods, is it like a fucking prison cell where just people scream, "Ah, fucking Pinky"?
No, it's that. It's the double take, or some people just stare at you, or you try and speak Malay in the store and they respond to you. You know, it's little things.
And those are the things that really signal what it is going on. But the people that don't live through these things, but I don't understand what the problem is. Like, no one really did anything to you. Like, they just think it's like a fucking prison cell of screaming slurs. Like, that's what fucking racism is. Or you walk through the place, yeah, you fucking idiot, you pinky pink, you know.
There's places you can go where your face is like a dead stop signal. It's a signal in the environment that's a dead stop. And you there's nothing outside of changing of putting makeup on. There's nothing you can do.
Right.
You just show up and you just feel it and deal with it.
To add on to this, I took off most of my makeup. Like
your actual makeup, not figurative, but actual makeup. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was really barefaced. I even had sunglasses. You couldn't even tell what I looked like anyways. The only thing was probably the tattoos, but I fucking saw some tattoos out there, but his name was probably Tyler with the fucking six-pack pecs and blonde hair. Saw Kylie with the fucking white dress. And she was walking around with the fucking selfie stick. It would have been fine, I'm sure.
She has a tattoo. You know? It's of a dolphin. It's on her ankle next to her star sign.
Exactly. And it was fine. Yas. I went around screaming yas on a drunk night, and they actually yossed back. Like, I don't know if you saw that clip. I posted it on Instagram.
I saw the clip. Yeah.
That's what it was there. It was just, yeah. So it was like these Orange County fucking types that I got away from because of these reactions. And then you have the locals there, which in general just were not welcoming to it, someone with my temperament. So it was like double, you know, and I'm just like, fuck my life. This is not for me, man.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing, now that you've said that, I'm wondering is if some people who are trying to repress your experience are also just triggered by any idea of race or any idea of racial discrimination. Like for some people, they just don't want to believe it happened ever, anywhere. That it's a delusion. Yeah.
But,
and it's like,
even me, I saw that in me, that delusional race doesn't matter thing.
Right.
Like, because out of all places, Prague, Czech Republic, tolerant? Who would have known? Who would have fucking known? I have not been aware of my race since I moved here.
Yeah.
People talk to me without that being a layer at all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I forgot. I just forgot. I just fucking forgot. You know,
it's,
and then
it's a layer. That's it. It's a layer. It's a signal. And people just sometimes people just can't get over it. Sometimes they do. You can talk to them and you can watch them mentally wrestle with it. And sometimes they win. They beat the demon, and then they're like, okay, I want to talk to you like a person.
Yes. Like it takes this weird adjustment period for them. Like, what is your problem?
You see it in their face. They're like, Asian, Bruce Lee, Kung Fu, karate. Oh, Jesus.
But they're actually just like a person, you know, that has no association with that. Like, you know,
that's like that Bruce Lee quote, isn't it, where he's been interviewed and the interviewer says, do you consider yourself an American Asian man? And he said, I would rather you consider me as a human being.
Yeah. I put that on my Asian racism video at the very beginning. And like I realized what I learned. Another thing I learned is just, I mean, fuck, you take these things for granted, you know, like I really started taking my life out here pretty for granted because I mean, lockdown is a good reason to. But, you know, even small situations like that, just to be seen as a human being is very nice to experience.
There's a level of consciousness that the world is falling prey to in this spiritual war that we're in. You can call it demonic or archontic or whatever it is. Because we're becoming more and more signal and symbol focused, I think the propensity to see people through these lenses is actually getting stronger, not weaker. This is why I claim we're not in progress. The idea of progress is false. We're not progressing.
Instead of a kaleidoscope, the prejudicial view of life feels like a telescope that kind of collapses the complexity of life into a narrow thing that you think is closer, but it's an illusion. It's not closer, you know? So the idea of there's so much complexity and chaos and collapse happening that they think that by closing their perspective on life and how to view people, it's going to fix the chaotic elements, you know.
One of the things I do know because of the guy who I've been training with from Hong Kong for years, he has a really good mate who's Greek at Oxford University. My mate from Hong Kong was telling me that Greece was struggling with potential fascist party. And there was actual fights in the street. Yeah,
I looked it up, and Greece right now in general is just political upheaval, economic upheaval. Then you have that fascistic part of it happening, but I mean, I thought just in the capital city and fucking Instagram capital of the world, Santorini, would not be that terrible, you know? And like a huge part of this too was I got a I was like getting a refresher on Western consumer capitalist mentality. After that, like I realized out here that it's still they don't have any of that here. Like it's still fresh. Like maybe some Instagrammers here and there, but in general,
It's a very naive city still.
yeah,
Somehow it's like exists inside of a magical force field that
it's a
keeps the
snow
people in
globe.
the culture naive.
Yeah, it's a snow globe. It's
Mm,
great. It's just you
mm,
see it and you shake it and snowy. It's pretty.
mm.
And going to Santorini, it was like a ton of Westerners, just like entitled yuppie types with country club types, and then Instagrammers. I mean, I could be considered one too, but like I even Instagram the chick on the hot tub.
Mm.
Yes, with their booty out, the
Mm.
guy in the booty shorts taking a photo.
Yeah.
And what's funny is that the whole time I got no looks, and if I did, there were looks of disgust. Most people try to avoid me, try not to
Mm.
make eye contact, like I was the fucking plague the whole
Mm.
time. Especially women. Women
Mm.
just completely looked the opposite way,
Mm.
just like pretended like it was just wind in the air.
Mm.
I sat in one of the restaurants that actually was really awesome. Shout out to DaCosta, the kid there, Yorgos. He was like 25-year-old gamer kid. We actually like got along. I sat it was a seaside restaurant, family-owned restaurant. I put the selfie stick right there.
Mm.
Now every tourist walking by
Mm.
looks at me like, who's that? Ooh,
Mm.
ooh, who's that? All of the girls now, all these Instagrammers are giving me eyes of affection as opposed to just dirt before.
It sounds like one of those absurd YouTube things where they're always faked, where the guy tries to talk to a girl and she ignores him, and then he goes over to his Lamborghini,
Yes.
and then
Yes.
it sounds like that.
Yeah.
They're all faked, like, but this sounds like a real version of that.
Yeah, and my one of the guys on my stream was like, "Man, it's like the selfie stick is a new Porsche, is the modern day Porsche."
Who is he? Maybe
Yeah.
he has status. Oh,
Yeah, exactly. And I just couldn't believe it. I literally went from being seen as like the scum of the earth when I'm recording myself just a bit more relaxed in a fancy restaurant. All of a sudden, I'm eccentric.
Yeah.
I'm somebody.
Right.
And,
Right.
oh God, just like the worst elements of extreme hyper westernized culture.
I have an important question for you. Now, be honest. Did you like Greek women? You can say no.
I mean, I saw a lot of pretty women there, definitely. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Greek women, sure. I saw a lot of pretty ones too, and even American girls too. Like, but just from how they were looking at me and shit, I just no attraction. Like, fuck you, like And at the very beginning, I thought it was just, what if my ego is just hurt because I'm used to girls liking me, and now they don't, and I'm just sad. Which a part of it was like, damn, that hurt my fucking ego.
Part of it is narcissistic injury, of course it is.
And that's what I thought it was at first. This was just some narcissistic injury. My ego's kind of battered. Whatever. I can live with it.
Narcissistic injury can be completely legitimate, by the way. It doesn't indicate like a personality disorder. Everybody gets narcissistic injuries.
Yeah. And that was my first thought. I was just like, oh well, that stings. Whatever, man. If I don't get laid out here, okay, whatever. That's all good. But then the behaviors with the bus driver, with the waiters, with the other American tourists, the disgusted looks, I realized that it's not just I can't get laid. It's actually a whole other realm of just, whatever you want to call that.
Racism.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is what I call it.
Yeah. And racism, it's also some sort of otherism. Like
it's actually, we shouldn't say racism. It's discrimination. It's discriminatory. Yeah. It's prejudicial because it's not about it's not about genetics. It's about class. It's about what does it mean if I talk to you? Yeah. Is it cool if do I want you hanging around with me? Do I want, you know,
Right.
Do I want to be associated with you? And what's the significance? How will it look to others? And all of that shit.
Yeah.
Standard dominance hierarchy jockeying, but maybe just in a very, very crude environment. There is still an element here in Ibiza of the hippie mentality. People are taking psychedelics. You do get fucking idiots here. But generally speaking, especially the people who stay a longer term, it's much more open.
Yeah. I was even sitting in front of a restaurant. Not okay. It's hard to explain because it looked like a bench, like in a corner where nobody was there. Nobody was there. It's like some off-beaten corner. There's no way I can explain it, but it doesn't look like the front of a restaurant. Like
Right.
it's just like some off-beaten corner with a ledge, like that no one was there.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there live streaming.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the owner comes out. Hey, so are you? You know, you are covering my sign here, and you know, you don't have to sit here. You understand that? And I'm like, okay. So I'm rushing because the internet connection cut out on the middle of the stream. I'm like, fuck, I really need to get this interaction. So I'm pulling out my phone like this, and I'm going to video like stealthily. And then I think he saw, and he goes, "Oh, but you know, like instead of sitting here, you can come inside for a drink, and you know, you can promote."
That's how he should have led. That's how he should have led. It's like that, mate. Come inside and have a drink. The reason I'm asking you to move, by the way, is you sat in front of my sign. Would you like a free drink? Do you want a shot? Do you want some ouzo? Do you there's ways of getting the job done, isn't there?
And I'm thinking if fucking Kylie in her white dress was sitting in front of the damn sign with her fucking selfie stick, would it be the same reaction? You know? So it was
red pill themes are arising.
Yeah, it was just this constant barrage of reality being shoved in my fucking head.
Yeah.
That I've been living in a snow globe, a beautiful snow globe where I don't have to experience these things out here. And it was like a really big wake up call to confront those things again.
Well, I saw. Obviously, I was there on some of your lives where you were struggling through it, and I think there's a certain amount of shadow integration that can occur through depression, through collapse, and through rage. That rage is like a fire that burns things away. It burns away illusion. I don't know what illusions you were carrying. I don't know what it was. But I was like, no, because people were DMing me saying, I'm worried about Pierre. And then I watched and I was like, yeah, you don't need to get mumsy about Pierre right now. He's going to emerge a much more savage beast from this. Don't you worry about that.
Yes.
He's just having a Nietzschean moment.
I was full of rage. I've never felt that type of rage ever since I was in California. It's confirmed a lot of my suspicions about that place, that mentality, that really hyper westernized approach to life. It's confirmed all of my hatred towards that approach to life. I can't stand anything that what do you say doesn't, because there's the thing, I'm okay with shallow superficial things, but there's a way to approach those things that is just despicable, like
that's what I was saying when I was watching you. You sound like the Joker at the end of the Joker. It was like, you people are awful, Murray.
Yeah, you people are just awful. Just awful. If I was dying on the sidewalk right now, you people would just walk right over me. And it's only about time where we go werewolf and we do what we need to do. It's like that. Like, that's how I fucking felt, man.
Yeah.
It really was. Like, I love having lighthearted fun and the parts of me is shallow and stuff, but I think when you embody that as an approach to life and you judge others so negatively through that lens, and
I had an idea for you today when I went to the shop and I was walking back and I was thinking about what you told me and I was thinking about having this conversation and I was like, what would be a TV show that would really, really flop, but it wouldn't work, but it would get an awful lot of critical attention, was if you made a TV show where the main character is as dumb, selfish, and unkind as the average human being is today.
Ooh.
So, and you know who I was thinking of? I was like, well, people are dumb. And then I'm walking and I'm like, people are dumb. People are dumb. And I'm like, that's not the problem. Because Forrest Gump is a movie about a guy who definitely has a subnormal IQ, but he's so charming and so kind.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, charming and kind with a high IQ. So you could have Hannibal Lecter. He literally eats people and kills them, but you would still watch him because even though he's evil, he's educated, he's cultured, and these people have nothing. They're just crude, cruel, ignorant, selfish. Like they're not even, they don't even, I can't even respect them as psychopaths who can strategically move their lives forward. Like, I'm like, that guy's a prick, but he's a fucking ambitious. That's a Machiavellian fuck right there. I respect that part of him. Nothing. They're like mean-spirited zombie drones.
Like, what do y'all do? You know, I'm just like walking around. Like, what do y'all do? Yes, like what do y'all do? You know, and
they sit with each other and they look on their phones, because I sit sometimes on the beach or I'm by the pool and I'm like, I listen to the conversations and I'm like, this is a content-free conversation. Not every conversation needs to be like, oh, do you prefer Camus versus fucking, you know, Dostoevsky? But fucking hell, literally, you're not saying anything. There's just nothing. There's no communication occurring here between humans.
They're mean about it. That's the worst fucking part. You know, I said this on the stream too. I actually don't have a problem with dumb people if they are kind-hearted and we can laugh together. I would actually 100% to prefer being around a dumber person like that than some fucking educated philosophical asshole. You know, like, it's not about intellect. It's like these people like can't even afford the decency just to see others as a human being, bro. Like, that's like the baseline standard.
I there's different ideas I've had for TV shows, and they're always subversive, because I'm like, you know, this could be the Netflix thing that like wakes people up, it becomes popular, and it has like a hidden message in it. And I'm like, this is the one. You just shove people back at themselves. But the way you would film it is claustrophobic. It would be close up, and it would be a guy and his girlfriend and their interactions and how they're cheating on each other and how they're talking to other people on through their smartphones all the time, and just shove it in people's faces. Everyone would hate it. It would be critically acclaimed, but everyone would fucking hate it.
This fucking thing is Joker, man. Really unsettling close-up shots, and you were forced to empathize with the villain, the main character of the story, and how like you can't help to feel like, I get why he did that, you know. And then that makes people scared, because it's like, you get it, you know? You're not supposed to get those things, but you do.
What a strange moment the Joker came out at, given what happened within a year of it coming out.
You think there's something behind that?
Of course I do. Of course I do. I'm paranoid. I'm like, there's something to this. Some artists just hit the moment, don't they? They just feel the zeitgeist.
That's what it is. That's what it is. I think artists that are revolutionary, they see the zeitgeist a year or two before. They make some critically acclaimed thing and boom, ride the wave. That's what it is about, like, successful art too. Half of it standing up on the wave at the right time.
Absolutely.
You can't be too early or too late, I think.
What you experienced in the world outside of the bubble of Prague, where you are alchemically protected through your karmic past life magic spell bindings.
Really?
is that the world, the human world, I think, has gone from confidently and optimistically expanding to, what's the opposite of expanding?
Contracting.
It's now contracting. We're contracting spiritually. We're contracting psychologically. We are going to contract technologically. I think it's going to be a vast endumbing, and it will be idiocracy.
Hold that thought while I go pee. I would like to expand on this, but let me urinate.
You contract your bladder.
Oh, yeah.
was going to try and convince everyone that my video had frozen, but my eye started twitching and I was like, this is childish. There's no reason to be so childish. Okay, stop it. Lovely Linda says PPP. Good. Richie blinked. I did. It's already happened, Richard. Capitalism has atomized everyone into single units. Oh no, it's not happened yet, but it's coming. It's already begun, but we're not post the happening. That's coming. Christine says, it's like Idiocracy, but with that thing instead of Gatorade. Implosion into superficial, smother mother totalitarian foolery, says Yuji Rose. I'm afraid that is on the cards, yes. Just look, says Richard Bishop, at the population growth numbers, especially in the US. Growth is over, nothing left but to watch everything crumble. Are you still coming to Florida? If they let me, for sure. Despite the warnings that 20% of America's corona cases are emanating from there. Yes, absolutely. That wouldn't stop me.
Take the risk. So anyways.
Life is risk, comrades.
Talking about alchemically being sealed out here and life contracting. I think a big thing that was triggering, in addition to racism, was I realized, like, I take a really deep offense to not seeing the aesthetic beauty and the value of life artistically. So when I see Santorini being quintessentially, it was one of the most beautiful views I've ever seen. Cliffside, you see these beautifully lit white cubist buildings. It's gorgeous, like one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And then knowing the types of people that can afford to come here and how they interact with this thing and how they are as people and how they probably treat others on a day-to-day basis and at home, whether it's just offensive. Like, it disgusts me. Like, this seething rage arose in the bottom of my fucking core. You know, like, this is the most beautiful, one of the greatest artistic creations of humanity. And you're like that. You're like that. How dare you? You're spitting in a church. You know what I mean?
How dare you? You have ruined my dreams.
You did. These fucking people, like, are the epitome of what I stand for as a fucking person.
You come at it artistically. I usually come at it religiously, but it's the same thing. That, like,
it is. It's the same shit.
Because we both enjoy being superficial idiots, but then I'm not just enjoy being that. I think the essence of what we are is quite superficial and idiotic. Like, we're just on day to day.
Yeah.
But then there's little things like that, and all of a sudden a more militant side comes out, and it's like, yeah, you are spitting in a church, and actually it's not okay. And everybody around you be like, oh, calm down. That's just no. There's no fucking calm down.
This is church.
This ruins reality. They're destroying the world.
That's how I felt. And obviously, I think this is where we can maybe format this.
Yeah.
On a day-to-day basis, life is easier to deal with in a more superficial, silly, dumb way.
Yeah.
On a casual day-to-day basis. But when you're confronted in these types of just miraculous, like, just beautiful creations of God, you know, like Santorini, like, they designed this whole fucking thing like this on an island cliffside. Like, fuck, the water's blue. It's amazing. And I confronted this hyper-consumerist rich Westerner entitled mentality. Is like, I realized that these people are ruining reality. They're projecting, they're shitting and vomiting out the worst way to look at people and life. And then it perpetuates a cycle of more of that, considering, like, they get posted on Instagram, they tell their fucking rich yuppie friends about it, you know, and treat the fucking locals like shit. So I get the somewhat racial connotations with the locals.
Yeah.
I would probably blame the tourists more at this point.
Yeah.
Because I get why they could be jaded and bitter and a bit racial, because the tourists that come are just disrespectful as fuck.
Well, I mean, and we don't, like respecting your subjective experience, we'd have to respect their subjective experience and go there and be like, hey, what's it like for you living on this beautiful island? Obviously, one part of you wants the tourists, you want to make money, but then what? Because I just had this conversation with the guy who owns my gym yesterday. He's from Ibiza. He's a true Ibithenko. It's in his blood, and he was extremely passionate about it. And I was like, yeah, but it's nice here. It's warm. It's friendly. People from Ibiza are friendly. And he said they'll be friendly with you because you're speaking Spanish and you don't have a shitty attitude. He said, but generally speaking, we fucking hate English people here.
Yeah.
And I was like, why? It's the attitude, the people, they want to take advantage of you. They smile at you. They make friends with you. And he said this in Spanish, and I think this is what he was saying. He speaks with a strong Ibiza accent. As soon as they've made friends with you and they see an opening, they want something. And I was like, okay. And he said, you think what it's like for me. And he's sitting outside of his business. He says, I sit here and I watch them come. And he's in his 60s. He says, I've been watching them come my whole life. You think what that's like for me? And I was like, oh shit. Okay. And then it's not bitter here. It really isn't. Like Ibiza is one of the most, in my experience, one of the most polite places in Spain. But he's saying by Ibiza standards, people are getting rude. By the Ibithenko standard, people are getting a little bit pissed off and a little bit bitter now.
That's okay. That's fascinating. Yeah, and I think what pissed me off was that I was trying to get along with these people. I learned the Greek phrase, and I was really accommodating as much as I could, but still was being stonewalled.
Right.
And that was the problem too, because there was not at that point there was nothing I could do.
It's horrible. I think when you are a charming person and you're used to it working, and then it doesn't.
It doesn't.
I think I said here before about my experience in Dallas, where I was like in the gym and getting taxis and stuff, and I just couldn't charm anybody, and that was a race related thing. They just weren't having it. They just were not. And I'm like, I can fucking charm anyone. What the fuck is going on here? My charm is broken.
And usually when it doesn't work, the reason is racialism.
Well, I mean, yeah. That was that I was in Dallas for 3 days, and the gym I was going to was in it. I chose the gym because they had boxing bags there. I was in a black area. It was a black owned gym, and I was trying to not make friends, but talk to people. They have none of it. And then when I get Ubers and taxis, again, they were having none of it. And then I met a guy who was super warm and friendly, but he'd been in the NFL and he'd gone through college and trained for football with other white guys. And he was used to.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I don't know what the deal is in Dallas, but like fucking hell, it was not. That was cold. It was cold,
and it hurts.
Dallas.
And it hurts, right? Like you're trying. Like
no, it hurt. I'm smiling, but it really hurt because I was like,
it's painful. Like you really want to get along. You really want to make some friends. And you're just getting shot on, and your heart breaks.
I was like, I'm not like that, guys. Seriously, it's cool. And they're going, no, it's not cool. It's not.
I came across a TikTok, one of those mental health TikToks, and I usually just kind of fast forward, but this one was kind of interesting because it was like people who they purposely say things to get under your skin. They do that because the easily offended are the easily manipulated. So a part of me is like, oh, that's why they want to gauge if they can whip me around to get a reaction out of me. So I'm working on that. However, there's a comment right here that says, Google top 35 friendliest countries in Europe for expats. Greece ranks 25th and Czech Republic is nowhere to be found. Proof that this guy is lying through his teeth. This is lovely. I cannot wait. I can't wait. Reality is viewed only through blog posts and a book.
Yeah, if it doesn't say it on Google, fuck you.
I must be lying because it's not in a novel, it's not in a blog post, it's not on BuzzFeed. And also, who do you think wrote that? What kind of background do you think they came from? What kind of experiences did they go in?
Written by Stavros Poupalakis on behalf of the Greek Tourism Board. I think you will find the Czech
Yeah.
Republic isn't even mentioned here once.
Barry Stevenson from South Virginia. Just they're so hospitable here.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Louisiana is the most friendliest place.
Yeah. I went to the Czech Republic and they weren't nice to me. I hate it here. I tried ordering a goulashi and they didn't even like to do
I think like you sometimes you just have to get outside your own head, don't you? You just have to get outside your own head. I mean, it's perfectly possible, of course, of being rational people. You know, you said rational men, rational humans. We can consider the possibility that you got unlucky again and 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 again consistently for 5 days. It's not impossible. It's not impossible, but it's unlikely. It's improbable.
Different people are made for different places. People constantly say the Czechs are super cold and they're really rude and they're really mean. And meanwhile, I've had the deepest friendships I've ever had in my fucking life out here. I go to restaurants, they love my eccentricity. They think I'm fucking weird and they love every second of it. Of course, you get treated in Santorini just fucking fine, and of course, you come here, you're not gonna get treated because you're that fucking person.
Yeah,
the fucking person, Malaka. Fuck. He must be lying. He must be lying because this list says that everywhere is friendly in Greece and the Czech Republic isn't. Like the Czech Republic is gonna fucking treat a blog poster like fucking great. They know they recognize a certain thing out here, and I have that thing, and I see that they have that thing, and that's why it works out here.
Yeah,
motherfucker.
I can't really remember when I was a kid and I worked in Santi for a while. I wasn't really rating, or I think I just thought about sex, and I just was like, Greek girls just drove me completely insane.
Jesus Christ.
And if you're Greek, slide into the DMs, or if you look Greek, or if you just have a big nose.
And here's the thing: I'm fine with Greek women. If they like me, I like them too. But they didn't like me, so then what can I say? It just doesn't work out. It doesn't fucking work out. What am I gonna do? Get mad? I'm not gonna get fucking angry at them. You don't find me attractive. No.
You can move on to another marketable another time.
I realized that I'm a living fucking vampire in a castle, and the more depressive and melancholic the country is, the more they're willing to like me. That's just how it goes.
Yeah. Yes. Well, and yeah, I mean, if to give you the fullest feedback that I should. As a friend, you are spoiled in Prague. I've never seen any man being treated the way you're treated in Prague. I've never seen that before.
Me neither. And and then I also get the argument like.
So if any of you feel sympathy for him, just fucking bear that in mind. It's insane. Who
doesn't want to go to a place where they're treated well? You know, if you can find a place that treats you well, why would you go somewhere else?
Sure. No, I hear you.
It's not even to the extent of just being treated like a fucking royalty. It's just they like this eccentricity, and I feel good having the eccentricity appreciated.
Sure. You know? Sure. Yes, it's lovely. It's a lovely place. A lovely place. Should we take some questions from these good people?
Sure, why not? But it's the same reason you have Australians that go to fucking Thailand and they're also treated well too at times. So it's like
the first girl I ever fell in love with had a big nose, and I never got past it. I never got past it. She has met some of my girlfriends. They're never lacking in the facial feature region.
Whatever works, man. Everybody's got their thing.
It's incidental. I'm not like looking. It just always works out that way. There's like a signal.
Oh, wait. Before we just continuously rant about culture or whatever, let's go to that thing that we were talking about. How reality is collapsing into a more narrower view.
Right.
Why? So my hypothesis is that to deal with extensive feedback,
Yeah.
it's a natural human instinctual action to try to close that up because it's just too much for the brain to process.
That was Terence McKenna's hypothesis. That Terence McKenna clip I posted on Instagram. I don't know how I edited it, but on the actual interview, he says, because his hypothesis was novelty, and novelty for him was the description of spontaneously occurring complexity. And he said, as novelty, but the interviewer was like, oh, well, things will get better then. And Terence said, well, novelty is neither good or bad. So increasing complexity is neither good or bad. And he also said, he predicted that we would move through a time that as more and more novelty came into the environment, that yes, we would be able to alter our DNA. We may be able to overcome death. We may be able to fly to other planets. But at the same time, racism would increase, sexism would increase, prejudice against this group, that group would increase. And he said, it will not be, he said, the mushroom told me, the mushroom told him that that's the way it is when a species is preparing to leave the planet. He said, it's not calm, it's not nice, it's a fire in a madhouse. And he said, that's what we're living through now, is the fire in the madhouse at the end of time.
But why would that be synonymous with certain things such as discrimination and the closing of whatever to whatever?
I think reading in between the lines, like Terence obviously was a bright guy, but he was also a very original thinker. He let himself think the unthinkable, and he took DMT to help him think the unthinkable. So in an environment, say if we have like a biology experiment and we entrap like 30 humans in an environment and we train them to have like a fairly stupid life. We feed them, they hunt occasionally in our control. They never see us. We're like gods. They're in a dome. We control their breeding. We control everything, and they just don't have to worry about anything. But then slowly, we increase complexity. We put new humans in there that don't look like them. We change the breeding protocols frequently. We change the shape of the dome and the terrain while they're sleeping, and they wake up and they're like, the fucking lake has moved. Why is the stress levels go up in the dumber the humans are, the higher the stress will be in the face of increased novelty and complexity. So for the brighter ones, novelty and complexity is, oh, we can change our DNA, we can fly to the stars. For the dumber ones, it'll be like, everything's changing, I fucking don't like this.
Oh, I see. Because there's becoming more of a split between thinkers and non-thinkers, but the same amount of feedback is increasing for everybody. We're getting the same. Everybody in our dome is getting the same signal. They're getting exactly the same signal, but some are moving this way and some are moving that way. And he called them, isn't it like neophobes and neophiles? I think that's a McKenna expression. You either love the new. So both of us, I think, we're very different people, but we meet on that thing where we love new. We love newness, like new content, new toys, new things. And then there's neophobes. They hate the new. They're threatened by the new. They're threatened by change. In any change, I always see opportunity, but some people absolutely fucking loathe it. So yeah, for some people, it registers as stress. It's not just IQ. It would also be your sense of where safety comes from. Yeah. Do you believe that doing what we've always done makes us safer? Some people really do. I just see it as crushing. I just see it as tyrannical and like being buried alive. And I think but that also arises a dissonance of the neophile that enjoys the new, because you also have to put up with the neophobes, so you're kind of conflicted between trying to embrace the progress or just seeing the new in general, but you're consistently confronted by something that you absolutely just can't stand for at all.
Well, yeah, because it's tribal pressure. This goes back to how I started on YouTube with the Spartan Life Coach Project. I was talking about things like this. When you grow and you thrive, Your tribe doesn't want to see that. They'll fucking kill you if they can get away with it.
Let's go into that, because I've been thinking a lot about this ever since I edited that video for you about individuation. I was like, maybe I should make my own like interpretation of that same concept. This
You should do it, man. You should get into that conversation, because it's a good conversation.
I might have like a new avenue for new content already. Like I even talked to my therapist about this too, and it basically has to do with individuation for the weirdo or something like that.
Do it. You'll get so much support for that, and you'll be so much happier doing that. But go on, sorry.
And well, ever since I edited and watched that video of you talking about it, I realized that that's not really a concept that's even talked or considered about in any dialogue, not even mainstream dialogue, but also I haven't seen any videos about that idea in general anywhere. But I think now is the time, if any time, to bring up the importance of individuating out of a tribe or a collective groupthink in order to become a fully fledged, balanced human being.
Right.
But there's no guidance for that in any route these days at all. Like parents don't fucking teach kids to do that. They don't want you to.
Tribes can't teach it. Like churches and families and tribes can't teach that, because it's counterproductive to the needs of the tribe. I was saying this on an Instagram live last night. We all have to overcome our patronizing Western idea that there was another time and another place or another people, like the ancient Tibetans or the Navajo or the Zulu, and they didn't do this. You were just allowed to be yourself. It's fucking bullshit. The amount of pressure that you would be under to conform to the needs of the tribe would be way higher than what we deal with now, because the tribe's survival depends on your obedience.
Yes.
We've always been codependent, because codependency is necessary for human survival. I don't want my son to fuck off and do whatever he wants and sleep with whoever he wants. I want my son, my daughter, to benefit me and my tribe and my people and my resources. So that you won't find, it will never be mainstream to help people individuate. It will only be for the weirdos and shamans.
So would you consider individuation like a ritual where you leave for a while and you come back? Would that even be in the same umbrella, or is that still part of like tribe consciousness?
Where you leave and come back?
Yeah.
You mean like the hero's journey? You go off and you come back?
Something like that, or they send you off to the woods to survive for a week, that type of thing. Like
I used to, but that's why I don't resonate with the Joseph Campbell, Jordan Peterson archetypes thing and the hero's journey. I still see it as being fundamentally submissive, because you go off, you risk your life, and then you bring fire for who? For the tribe. And what does the fucking stupid dozy twat tribe do with it? Oh, they cook beans with it. And you're like, I slayed a dragon for that, bitch. I lost the fingers on my left hand.
Yeah, that's the strong men create weak men type of thing.
Right.
Good times to create the weak men. But go ahead.
Just that, like, real progress is extraordinarily real progress, not the bullshit we all jerk each other off with. Real progress is terrifying, and it's extraordinarily disruptive in a way that would make people piss themselves. The real progress, real individuation, the real work, it's for like 90% of people who say they're into it, they're just jerking off. They're just jerking off because it's so threatening to everything you are and everything you know. If you're a fake person and you individuate, all that is you, all the content of you is going to burn away.
Yeah.
You're going to do that? Fuck no. That's why people have bad trips when they take psychedelics, because the ego burns away and you go, I'm dying. It's like, no, you silly bitch. You're not dying. The bullshit is dying, but you're attached to your bullshit. You think that shit is you. You let it go.
Yeah. I rarely have bad trips on psychedelics. They're hard sometimes, but not like bad. I don't ever feel like I'm dying. It's
No. I mean, I did when I was a kid. I was too young and I had no guidance with it. But if you're not attached to historical intergenerational baggage, you won't feel that. You will enjoy the trip. But a trip is going to pull that. That's like the machine elves of DMT, the dancing jesters that McKenna talks about. He said they're trying to trade with you, and they're saying all the time, "What have you got? What have you got? What have you got?" And they want to take your stuff away. And if you want to hold your stuff, you'll be terrified. So individuation is a tough one.
It's like exploring new land and trading gifts to kind of learn and rebirth a type of a thing. You know, I was talking to somebody not too long ago, and I really like them, obviously, because I talked to them, you know, and kind of brought up a certain situation where it's like she kind of envies how I live in terms of like I have a lot of freedom, and I'm like, fuck that, I do what I want, whatever these people like. If they want something out of me, I still like go my own way, sort of a thing. But at the same time, she's living in a certain situation where, you know, there's a lot of expectations from the local community, the workplace, the parents, and, you know, all of these types of things. And there is a bit of not conflict necessarily, but a confrontation. She says that she sees me, and it's kind of like, ooh, like you can do that and I can't? Fuck. What am I doing with these people around me? Is it even real? Like, whatever. And on the other hand, I look at it and I'm like, but it's probably good to hold on to them at the same time. Like, I don't know if I can even be confident enough yet to say that you just fucking leave, like just go away, because this is something I never really had necessarily either. So I understand the value of having that bubble and, you know, network in that way. So it got me thinking, like, I mean, obviously individuation is not for everybody.
Well, you don't have to leave people. You don't have to literally leave. You wouldn't want to leave people. That would be, well, unless they need leaving. That would be a shame. Your individuation is not a split from people. An individuation is a split from cultural conditioning. It's what the lion says no to in Nietzsche's three metamorphoses against the dragon. The lion says no to the dragon. The dragon says thou shalt. That's all you're splitting with.
When the tribe senses the individuation, even unconsciously, like they just know that you don't think the same as them. There'll be a natural aversion to that.
They might try and kill you.
Yes, they might try to kill you, and obviously you're not my fucking boyfriend, wife, husband, daughter, whatever the fuck anymore, type of a thing too. And I'm like, to the average person, is that beneficial? You know what I mean? Like, it's not made for everybody.
Who gives a fuck about the average person?
Yeah.
See, for me, as a like, because I was working in psychology, I was doing cognitive behavioral therapy for criminals in their probation service. Then I worked in the education system, and we were always asking, what's best for the average person? What's best for everybody? And I'm at a different, so me personally, I'm at a different phase, but I see the world and I think the world's in a different phase. Fuck the average person. Fuck the average person. I can't, I have been trying for 8 years, exhausting myself trying to reach the average person. The average person doesn't want to hear a word of what I have to say. The weirdos who do follow me, I have a very small life raft. A few of them can get on, and everyone else, sorry, folks. I can't save a person who loves their enslavement. There's no saving. No saving there.
It's also very quintessentially the context of the times we live in too, where I'm also with you. Like, fuck the average person at this stage, especially. You know, if there's a time to say fuck this in any situation, it's now. You know, like, what is the average person gonna do for you at this current state?
And let's just add let's layer some higher resolution nuance here. So neither of us is saying it's not elitism, and like, if you're average, you're not worth saving. It's that the average person, statistically, the mean human being that you'll encounter, is so heavily propagandized and so attached to being submissive and obedient. There is nothing you can do for somebody like that. There's like, all your words will just, you may as well talk to a stone. There's nothing is going to hit. So
So
it's a bit of a waste of time to spread
and
yourself too thin.
actually, this directs to my personal heartbreak with my passion in art and music and film.
Right.
Because the average person nowadays doesn't consume any of that.
Right.
You know, it's the average person is. We both view dumb shit on TikTok too, but then we also have times where we don't have to only do that. You
Right.
know,
Right.
but the creation of art, music, and film. I had a long rant about this on a drunken Uzo night in Greece too. But like,
Mm.
entertainment is king. Art is practically dead.
Mm.
Even it's not even dead in a sense that only shit is being made. It is, but also the average person does not have the context or the taste to even remotely begin enjoying any of that at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
So my heartbreak was like, fuck, there's no future or there's not necessarily potential to go down that direction because the masses want fucking, it's just it's just how it is.
They want you to do it for them. It's
Yeah,
like Zizek said about the laughter tracks. Laughter tracks were introduced to American comedy shows in the 70s, and he said, think about that. It's ideology at its purest. The show doesn't just make you laugh; it laughs for you, so you don't have to.
right.
So the Friends laughter track comes on, and you just sit there and go. You don't even have to waste the fucking calories, like actually having a belly laugh. And art does nothing for you. All you can do is look at it in silence. Well, when you're a total fucking stimulation whore, immersed in the pornography of tweets and bells and whistles and colors, standing and looking at a picture, it's a big fucking ass.
Yeah, or an actual film or a really, really well produced song, even a bit of emotional depth more than just a wop here and there. You know, it's just a little extra than more than wop is a little too much to take the time to dwell in. Even if you put like emo music in this current stage, it's like even that type of depth in 2000s emo music is still too much for the current stage. Like it's so easily averted. And I think I came up with a theory that it we the masses or the majority will only appreciate these things if they are completely deprived. Like you have to be fucking deprived in order to see the value in honest, challenging art or music or film. Otherwise, it's like if everything is like already bells and whistles, challenging honest art is a bad vibe, bro. That's a really bad vibe. I just don't like it.
That sounds like what you said is it would be better for everybody if they were deprived.
Probably.
I think that's the only salvation we have is in collapse.
Yeah.
And I'm not being bombastic, hyperbolic, or exaggerating. I'll say it again for the people at the back of the room. The only salvation for humanity now is in total collapse. When the internet dies, and I believe it will, and the smartphones go off, and I believe that they will, and everybody pisses and shits themselves and is like, fuck, no TikTok. That's the moment where we can be saved. Some.
And I mean,
the way we are now, there's no fucking future in this, man. There's no future in this.
Yeah. And then that's either going to be from just complete fatigue of the other nonsense or an actual fucking thing happens. We can't access it. But like, imagine if everyone is already deprived and they are living in a forcibly more honest, authentic approach to life.
Yeah.
Nothing's a bad vibe. Everything is a bad vibe and everything is just a vibe now.
Yeah.
You know, so when you witness these films or whatever, it's kind of like a reflection where if everything is TikTok and booty pics and shit, anything that reflects things is just like, oh, this puts me in a bad mood. Like, I don't like it. Like,
you're making a point that I was trying to formulate earlier today. Paula, who's in the chat, asked me on Instagram earlier today, if nothing has meaning, what's the point of having a moral philosophy? And I gave it a long think. And I was like, well, for number one, we live without moral philosophy. Look at what the fucking world is now. You either have a moral philosophy or you're a salty, bloated, useless jellyfish. And you masturbate over pornography because it feels good. You watch this movie because it feels good. You talk to this friend because it feels good. You drink this drink because it feels good. You eat this biscuit because it feels good. Anything else? Oh, I don't want to do that. It makes me feel bad. I don't want to do that. It makes me feel bad. I don't want to do that. And it makes me feel bad. And I'm like, what are your choices? Are you just going to be a pleasure seeker? Do you know how quickly the whole of humanity will collapse if we are all just mindless pleasure seekers? I'm not, you know me, I'm not an austere dude. Like, I like drinking and being stupid and dancing and making stupid jokes and all that. But like that, you can't live every moment of every day like a bacchanalian feast, for fuck's sake. Then it's not a bacchanalian feast. It's just humdrum and pedestrian.
I mean, the value that I get from those pleasure-seeking binges that I go through is because on the off time, I'm really searching for shit. You know what I mean? So in the off time, it's like a counteract seesaw. It's kind of counteracting balance. But I mean, I think in terms of this though, oh, fuck no, because I've lost faith in people. But what I was going to say was that maybe it takes people to go through that pleasure-seeking cycle to actually wake up. But actually, no, because people just could just stay there and it's totally fucking fine.
It's a narcotic. It's a numbing agent, and it's sleep inducing, and it is a drug. Like, we consume culture as a literal endogenous drug now, and this drug is numbing. It's not motivating. It's not. People engage in political activism as a way of not having to think politically. Zizek was so right. It's ideology at its purest. You jerk off on Instagram, you jerk off on Tumblr, you spurt out in this Yang style, you come all over the page. Here's my political beliefs. Take a facial of that, so you don't have to think politically. It's actually the performative action alleviates you from the obligation of doing the actual thing you're pretending to do.
Interesting.
Fucking hell, lads, that burst my brain.
See if I can simplify that so I can understand it. So witnessing another person think for you allows you not to do it at all.
Yes, and when you pretend to think online, it means it allows you to not have to do it at all. So if I consume Pierre's political posts, I don't have to think. I just give him a like. I've been political now. When Pierre writes his political posts, he doesn't have to think either, because most of them are mimetic. They're just copies of copies of copies. And in your political post, you most likely will have a screenshot of somebody's tweet that you agree with, and then a caption that is just more word salad mush that agrees with the tweet that you posted. And you go, I did politics today.
So 2 things about that. First of all, remember you were in the chat while this girl was saying her date had to send her memes of other people to have a personality. Remember that?
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
So let's talk about
just explain that. Explain it.
I will. But just that the second topic.
Yeah.
Is just about the last one. Okay. So really quick is like, I actually purposely will post other people's opinions on the internet, because now that's actually more currency. Because in this world, it's not about sharing your own. It's if somebody else validates it, because for me now it's like, you're not going to believe a fucking thing I say. You're going to challenge it and not like it because I said it. Let me do another person, because then maybe it'll get through your fucking ears. You know what I mean? And especially
so you post a picture of what Zuby tweeted or something like that.
Yeah, and especially it's extra points if the person fits the physical identity of the audience. You know what I mean? So because anything I fucking say that goes against anybody is like, oh, it's Pierre though. He just hates and challenges everything. Fuck him. And then I post fucking, I don't know, Miranda, who the hell, or fucking Tyler, who the heck, you know? So then it's like, okay, you know? Anyways.
How fucking depressing is that?
Yeah, it's fucking infuriating.
And I have no argument against anything you're saying, because I know it's 100% factually accurate.
Drives me fucking insane. Anyways, the second thing we were talking about was, oh, I'm fucking mad. Anyways, so... Oh, that really pisses me off. Okay, so this girl on the stream that you were into, she basically said, I was dating some guy, and this guy, like, didn't really talk to me. he just would send me funny memes and other things that he would find on TikTok. And it was like, I kind of want to just get to know you, but you're sending me people doing the renegade. And at that point, I was just like, it's gotten so bad that people need to outsource their personality.
Yeah. Yeah. This is how funny I could be. This is how much character I fucking could have. Look at these memes.
And because you're associated with it by sending it, that's your taste.
Yeah.
That's your taste. So that's who you are.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, dude, I think about it. And I'm like, the people that are like, oh my God, he's so funny. Oh my God, she's so funny.
Yeah.
How much of it is just them sending memes of other people doing funny things?
I mean, it's not a terrible way to flirt because you want to know that somebody has the same dark sense of humor and that they're not sensitive and they're not going to like screech at you like, damn it, that's offensive.
Yeah.
So it is useful, but if that's all they're doing, that's fucking useless. You are a big floppy limp penis at that point,
dude. We send
just resting on the other person's head,
right? Oh Jesus, the windshield wiper. So it's like we send each other memes all the time, and I actually don't really go meme back and forth with girls or whatever. But if it does happen, then it does it. Like it works still. But literally, if it's the only thing you do, like what are you gonna do in real life? Like do you just they do that? They totally do that. Huh? They totally fucking do that.
They do that when they're exchanging dopamine or flirting, as we used to call it.
You know,
you could do that during sex. You could show them a picture of someone more attractive than you and be like, he's fit, isn't he? Just focus on that.
It will get like that at one point. This is who I could be.
This is who I could be. Yeah.
Like, what is that? Like real-time catfishing?
Yeah.
Like,
once the virtual goggles are implanted in everybody's brain, that would be it. Like you would look at somebody and you just see the avatar of them anyway. So
yeah. You know, it's funny because like I think of the idea of Netflix and chill, and that's how like couples go about things nowadays. And like there are times for it. That's normal. You watch a movie as a couple and you get busy, whatever. But like ever since I came out here, that's never been like a mode for a date ever. Like I've never really had to like just like here, let's watch this movie. That way I don't have to say much and then we can get started.
I don't think I've ever shared this with you. I'm going to share it with you now in front of 666 people. If a girl tries to have sex with me while the film is on, I refuse. Excuse me, madam. I think you'll find I'm trying to enjoy the directorial debut of this person.
Dude, I don't remember the last time. Like, I've only maybe done this twice or 3 times ever. Like having a film go and then it's like, oh, now we can get.
Well, I can hear the dialogue or an advert starts up whilst you're having sex, and it's like,
dude, no. This is I didn't because I rarely ever do this. So these things I had to actually consider. I was like, what movie is boring enough so I won't get invested, but also with sound effects that won't completely take me out of it. And how long it has to be just the right fucking thing.
Please, everybody, put in the comments what you think the worst movie, based on what Pierre just said, would be to have in the background whilst you're trying to have sex. I'm thinking Reservoir Dogs, the torture scene would be quite
Dude, have you ever tried flipping with a straight up murder happening on the fucking TV, dude?
I mean, I have them when I was a kid, for sure, but I'm too...
You can tune things out now. You can tune things out as a kid, but now it's like you get so sensitive to these. Dude, like I'll get to the point where it's like even a shitty song is like...
It's upsetting.
Yeah.
No, I've tuned in. I've tuned in while somebody's been doing something for me to poorly written dialogue. And then my brain is like, God, would you write dialogue like that? And I'm like, no. Think like sex mode. No, but seriously.
You want to hear a secret?
Go ahead.
I've done it to Jumanji.
Oh, you dirty boy. That's like doing it to fucking Chitty Bang Bang, you fucking monster. You fucking animal.
The new Jumanji with The Rock.
Oh yeah, well that you could anytime you're struggling to get it up, you could just take a peep at his big bald head.
With Jack Black doing silly dumbass jokes that were just so fucking boner dissolving.
I've not seen it. Is it any good? Any good at all?
It is. It's good for what it is. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like some really lighthearted, silly, fucking, just purely brain turning off movie.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good in that route, but otherwise, I wouldn't recommend it. You know.
There's a film I would recommend to people, but don't try and have sex with it, which is a German film called The Captain. It's not gory, but it's a true story. It's got some heavy themes in it. Definitely don't try shagging to that. No, I don't know how we got on. How did we get on to like sex?
Okay, the reason why I brought up Netflix and chill was because it doesn't require actual flirtation or mood setting or connection or personality expressing.
Yes.
And I found that is
so you're saying we're trying to do intimacy in the least intimate way possible.
Yeah, and I'm just like, obviously every couple watches a fucking movie together, you know, like everybody just like every couple does it too. It's fine. There's times and places for it, but I've seen that like with a lot of people, it's just like that's the only way they can make their connection. They live they live off the emotions that the screen gives both of them.
I'm telling you, man.
And they send it back to each other.
But unironically. We're ghosts. We're ghosts. We're not people anymore. There was only 1 billion souls, and now there's like nearly 8 billion people. So we're all living with like 1/8 of a soul, and that's the problem now. We're soul weak. We're soul weak creatures.
That's so rough, man. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. We just externalized any inkling of personality, charisma, what makes people interesting through, like, I don't know, what the fuck?
I just thought of the line specifically that I actually went off into a rant inside my head whilst I was, and the line that I specifically got very upset about to the point where it completely ruined the mood was, "We've got company." Now, if you're a writer for a film or a series and the main characters are doing something and the enemy turns up, you must find another phrase other than "we've got company" to mean the enemies showed up. Star Wars did it. Han Solo delivered it. It's over. It was done in 1978. You lazy bastards. So this girl is like, I'm in my head having this rant in the middle of something, and I was like, I can't stop the ranting.
Dude, it's not.
We've got company. Really? You can't say the enemy has arrived or watch out, folks.
No, the thing is, like, I recently got into like an action movie binge, but all of it just repeats the same fucking tropes, which is a shame, but I still enjoy a bit of it, you know. But anyways,
action movie tropes, I don't mind. You can give me the most formulaic action movie ever. There's one with Chris Pratt that just came out called Tomorrow's War, and it's crap, but it's okay for an hour and a half. It's the dialogue. It's because it's free. There's no cost except you hire a writer, and then they go, "What would Pierre say to Richard at this point?" And he's just like, come make it sound like a person would say it, for fuck. And then you have the actor stood there trying to act through really shit lines. Anyway.
And meanwhile, this is all happening while you're. Somebody was mentioning. Oh, sorry,
aren't you enjoying this? The film? No, it's bloody awful.
Somebody was asking, like, when is female flirting too much? I think flirtation is an interesting thing to bring up because we kind of talked about something similar to that before. But like, you remember we mentioned when there's meta communication, and that's gone, and that's the thing that makes humans sexy, and that's what makes us type of a thing.
Yeah,
I think flirtation is now the equivalent of dick pics or like sending memes or like Netflixing. You know,
I have an idea. I have an overarching theme that actually provides people with solutions, and Terence McKenna called it the archaic revival. I would prefer to think of it in more simple language. So, like, if you're not sure what to do, be primitive. Be primitive. So be simple, be primitive, do what we used to do. And then if you break it down like that, so like if you're really stressed out and you're in your phone and you're getting worried about the news and whatever, what would the primitive version of you do? Maybe you would stand up and look at a tree, or look at the moon, or put the fucking phone down, put the dark vortex of hate and pain that comes through the magic evil mirror down, and just walk around and get in your body. So for flirting, if we were all more in the archaic revival, being more primitive, being more simple, you first of all, you inhabit your body, and then you look at the person and you get a connection, and you try and feel what they're feeling at like an empathic level. And then you look at them, and fucking hell, that's a good start, because people aren't used to being looked at.
Yeah, let me expand on that too. Like, obviously there's 2 layers of this. Like, obviously, I didn't have luck in Greece and in America as well. But even when they were interested, they wouldn't look either, because it's part of the Western game. There's like layers of these games. If you're interested, don't look at them. Be just disinterested enough for them to know that you're disinterested. And if you wait disinterested enough, they might be interested in you. And then at that point, they're going to look away too while you're looking away. And that means they're interested in you. That's not primitive. That's just like, what the fuck are you doing?
That's way too much complexity. And it's way too much... that's layers of toxic culture right there. Like this isn't a business deal. This isn't like blackjack or mahjong. You like the guy, you like the girl. Right. You can show each other that, you fucking pair of weirdos. Yes. What is this nonsense?
And being in the snow globe here, you know what? I'm not going to use me as an example because it could be an unfair example. But even for you and for any of my friends, you can see the looks out here, right? You remember?
I do.
They're very straightforward, right?
Yeah, very straightforward. Yeah,
you send out the signals back and forth. That's more than enough.
The only place outside of Prague where I've seen women being so straightforward is France, and I wonder if you would like France. I wonder if you would like it there.
It's my first name, so who knows?
Who knows? But yeah, no, being straightforward. As I say, it breaks down differently by cultures. When I speak to people from Brazil, people from women, when I'm speaking, there's just a different vibe. There isn't this weird sort of like, oh, if I like you, I can't show it thing. Yeah. There's no shame around being like, I like you, and I'm gonna show that I like you. So the conversation just becomes, then it's friendly. It's hard to do flirtation through hostility. It's hard to do flirtation through a rigid, constipated, like passive aggressive power game. It's not impossible, but it's hard.
This is the difference. I just shit all over Western everything, but stick with me here. I hope. I mean, scared everybody away, but like the Western game is all egoic. It's like, I have to save face. I don't want to show my vulnerability by signaling that I'm even remotely interested in you. I don't even want to look at you to let you know that even me, this queen or king that I am, is vulnerable enough to even just like somebody else. And everything is geared towards that approach of, how do I flirt and how do I have game still without revealing that I actually like anyone?
Yeah, well, I get younger guys asking me stuff like that every once in a while, and I'm like, I can't fucking help you. I'm not doing that. I'm not. Just be forthright. Forget all that game playing. Forget trying to be a bad boy. Forget trying to be a fucking gangster. Just be fucking You're wasting your time. You're not fooling anybody anyway. Nobody's fooled, you dumb fucks. So just be direct. And then the person will either be like, I'm not feeling it, and then you're either going to be friends or you're not. And you just move on with your life. we're in a very strange place in the modern West, and it's becoming global. Everything is hypersexualized except actual sex between human beings.
Whoa.
That was deep. Whoa.
That's true.
There's more sex in me going and me seeing an advert for a can of Coke, buying it and drinking it, than there is in me having a conversation with a girl who would be sexually interested in me.
But that's like a reinforced feedback loop cycle, right? Because the suppression of the sex comes out really crudely in media, because we in real life don't have it. So then it becomes like a circle.
I'll overshare and then regret it later. Now, because obviously I'm an older man, I'm 43. I've noticed the change. I've seen the change in the way women interact and flirt sexually, and the way dating plays out, and the way sexual intimacy plays out. Now, everything is upfront, big splat.
Yeah.
All of the sex now. Here's pictures of me naked. Let's meet tomorrow night, and you're going to do stuff with me tomorrow night that you would normally only do with a girlfriend after 18 months, like back in your day. Back in my time when I first started, became sexually active, and it's all instantly now. And then after you're given everything sexually, there's this kind of this weird, awkward, from the other person. And it's like, well, as the recipient of it, it's happened to me multiple times. And I'm like, do you have a plan? Do you actually have you thought this through? Or are you just acting as an avatar of yourself, playing a role, and this is how you think people act? Because you don't have to do this. Like, you don't have to just crash into people. And I think the crashing, overgiving sexually, and with no boundaries and no, it's wild now. I think it's a compensation for the fear of intimacy. If I fuck you and I'm a porn star and I'm going to say this, I'm going to do this, maybe you won't see me. And I'm desperately not trying to be seen, even as I'm doing the 47 positions of the Kama Sutra with you. Don't see me. For God's sake, fuck me. Do what you want to me physically, but for God's sake, don't see me.
Okay, because in my head when you're explaining that, I was trying to balance, like, why can't we look at each other, but we can deep throat three-way fisting, fucking take off our actual head and then throw it like a football field to another person type of shit. But that's literally why. Because looking, even at first glance, is actual, you're seeing me and I'm seeing you. Yeah. So let's just skip that. Yeah. Let's throw each other like footballs instead.
It makes me uncomfortable, and I'm not used to it because I'm raised with my face in a smartphone. So as much as I crave being seen, I want to be seen through the magic mirror. I want to be seen through object B. Don't look at me. Look at the pictures of me and like them. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. But when you look at me, well, I don't have my filters on. I don't have my face app on. Don't look at this. Look at that. There's something like that that's happened. Like, we've broken intimacy. We've broken the capacity for vulnerability.
That even a real look is just too much, especially because it's also physical reality. It's not like a look through a Snapchat.
It's too much sometimes, and then what I've noticed, it's like a superpower in other times.
Yeah.
Because they're not being looked at in that way. Right. So I forget. I sort of like, I'm a man, and I like women, and sometimes I'll look at a woman, and it will be without the sort of the masking, without the layers of culture, and you're not supposed to lot and do. Yeah. And the response is, how should I put this delicately? So weirdly powerful that a couple of times I haven't known what to do with it. I was talking to I spoke to Sam Backman about this a couple of years ago because then I'm like, okay, now I'm on the back foot. But it was from a look. But I think if you're not used to being looked at with a clarity of intent by a person who's not trying to game you, you of course you're going to want more of that, because you're like, fuck, I've never felt, wow, that feels nice. That feels good. If you like the person, if you don't, it's not nice. But if you like the person, it feels good. You're going to want more of that. I think that was my point. I hope that was my point.
It is
dangerous ground talking about stuff like this.
It is your point, because it doesn't even have to be with girls. I realize that people just look out here. They look. Sometimes it's dirty. Sometimes it's not. Most people are just curious and they look. Yeah. Just, and it's without the cultural layers. There's no cultural conditioning in those looks. Some people, maybe, sure, some layers. But the more west you go, or you have tourists, the less you see that, because save faith. Like, save faith, keep your eyes head forward, don't reveal yourself like this. But the more further you get out of the city center, the more, it's not just me, it's people looking at each other. I see other people making eye contact with each other. And a lot of people I've heard, especially Americans that come here, they're like, oh my God, people just stare all the time. Like, why are they just staring? Why are they just staring? And I reflect on it now with this conversation, and actually it's just a form of people, how they communicate out here. It's more of a quiet culture, and that's how they send messages.
It's just more naive. It's a more naive. It's like a culture that's still in its adolescence. There, it's just a more naive culture with so much less cultural baggage. Don't know why. Maybe like it slept under communism and then woke back up in 1986. And it was like 40 years behind, but
it had to be an alchemical bohemian spell. Bro, it's the only place that really tapped into that shit, and it survived. Hitler didn't fucking bomb the place. It still maintained its clarity in viewing the world too.
Yeah.
So maybe that's one of those things. And it was an interesting dynamic that also kind of arose in me as I go to Santorini here, and seeing the differences, where the more southern you go, the less boundaries. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a different way of viewing the world. And I remember looking on Quora, and they had like some academic terms like negative politeness and positive politeness. Not negative as in bad. It means the lack of space. Or sorry, I don't.
Yeah.
Do you know about this concept or no?
No. Okay. It vaguely rings a bell. There are studies that show the further south you go, the physically closer you talk to people, right?
Yes, but also in the content and also how they present things.
Yes.
And so negative politeness, you get up north, Central, Eastern Europe, and it'll usually preface things with kind of like, I hope I'm not bothering you. Because that's negative. It's providing negative space in between you and I. I'm sorry to bother you. I'm sorry I'm in your face. I'm sorry in your way. I hope you don't mind if you don't blah 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 blah. And that's considered politeness in these parts. Or positive politeness in Southern Europe is about closing that space. Come here, my friend. You want to go? I bring you everything. I didn't get that there, but like that's kind of the depiction of it. And obviously, when these things collide, they don't work well. The northern culture is like, chill. The southern culture is like, fucking rude ass psychopaths. Like, I'm trying to invite them to something, and they just want to keep their distance.
Every time I do a bachata class with my instructor, we have like a little wrestling match over where I stand, because she always wants me to stand closer.
Okay.
And to be like. So the negative politeness. So in a bachata hold, I open my chest outward so that I'm not pressed on her. Okay. She fucking hates that. She's like, no, the position is like this. But to me, that's intimate. If both your shoulders are facing each other, you're extremely close. You are standing breast to breast.
Yeah, that's definitely a case. If depending on where you're at,
she's like, why are you like this? Why are you like this? I'm like, I'm fucking English. Leave me alone.
Yeah, like we would literally get sued to oblivion if we caught this on camera, and even like, so I ran into a few encounters in Greece, and like these were the girls, and they weren't negative, and they were positive. It was okay. But I really witnessed the cultural differences here. Just the closure of space. Like you're asking me what I did when I was like 8 years old and what I think about like, yo, you just met, like you're talking to me right here. You want to know everything about me and telling me more about and I'm just like, okay. So when I was 17, I'm just like really
you're getting a little bit pressed by it. Like,
yeah, and I'm like, bro, I know you don't mean this, but like I'm not used to this cultural approach to things. And I'm like, I really need some space because you're asking me about things about my childhood, and like they said, you know what I mean. So I'm just like, in the end, it's just a real big cultural clash, man.
Yeah.
And I thought about this, and coming out here and these areas, the coldness I analyze as polite. I really like that the fucking thing here. I like the quietness in between. I look at it like it's like, oh, okay, I can breathe. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I can sit here in the quiet. It's just fine. But like to somebody else, that's like the rudest you can ever be.
Yeah, no, it is nice. It's a quiet culture. It's a very, very like screaming and shouting and all that. Like people actually talk at a lower volume in the Czech Republic, and it's noticeable. Yeah. It's noticeably quieter, which is what makes doing bachata in the Czech Republic so much fun. When it's done in that wonderful Czech style, and they're trying to do sensual Dominican bachata.
There's positives and benefits to everything.
Is this ballroom dancing we're doing? What the fuck?
In terms of bachata, like you are not doing it right if you are approaching it the northern way. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ.
It's like they took all the hip movement out and they just scrubbed that. And that's pornography when I'm doing any of that.
You both have to face away from each other.
Yes. This is only way.
On the plane ride back, I sat by, I don't know where they were from, but definitely southern somewhere. This couple, like I have a fucking photo, like I don't have their face on it, but like I hope it shows up on, like I'm literally right next to these two, like just
wowie.
But it wasn't they were just making out. It was like and then he starts fucking hitting her in the arm. And she goes, I'm so sorry. The whole fucking plane can hear this shit. And I'm just
that's a really weird mating ritual.
Bro, I would say I'm a pretty passionate person, but I think I found my limit in terms
that's too much public. But they look they look like my age, right?
No, they're younger than me, maybe.
Okay. I was gonna say it's nice, maybe they're still getting on in years and they still got that passion.
Like 23 or some shit.
Okay.
Dude was super fucking loud and in everybody's fucking like, I don't understand. What did they say? I don't understand. The flight attendant. What is this? The pilot. I don't understand. I want to know. And I'm just like, I'm not made for this culture. I'm not made for this.
Take me back to the icy snow queens of the Czech Republic, please.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's just in the end, it's just like certain things work with certain people, man. That's it.
Yeah.
That's just how it fucking goes.
We're all different. We're all different. You got to respect the differences instead of demanding that you change to match every single fucking environment. That's just not reasonable.
And at the end of this trip, I'm not fucking screaming at Greece and fucking Santorini and the tourists there to be more woke. I'm gonna be like, for me, just do it for me. But what I can say is I had a shitty fucking time, and this is why I'm never going back. And that's my choice. I could not do that.
So many people are going to be triggered in the comments afterwards. You need to just change.
Dude, there's literally one person that's even in the chat now in 5 different accounts, just like trying to destroy my perception of what I got there, and just like, Greece, you're just a fucking yearns baby.
Listen, Greek tourism board.
Yeah, it's like they really
go make us a fucking souvlaki and do something useful with your time.
Fucking hell,
Davros. Did you you had the souvlaki when you were there?
Yes. It's funny because the guy who owns the souvlaki stand, I got along with really well. Super cool dude, really laid back. I got along with the working class there, basically. But anyone else was like, nah.
Yeah, once it gets a little bougie and pretentious, things can go one or two ways. You know, it can sometimes it be that way.
Like
should I take some questions from these people and then we'll wrap it up and go eat food? That is the opening to a Scottish folk song.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a traditional. Any questions? So my lad says, "Is there something wrong with your chest, Richard?" Yes, I did chest yesterday, and it's very sore today, but not in an unpleasant way. It's pleasant, but the real pain has just started now. 24 hours later, right in the titties. We did titties yesterday, baby. Titties.
I'm gonna start going to the gym. I'm gonna sign up to a few classes too. What do you think I should do? Should I go to a boxing class or just straight up like Muay Thai or MMA shit?
I'm always going to say do Muay Thai over boxing, but I think you've got a real propensity for boxing. So yeah, try a boxing class for sure. But try getting a one-on-one trainer.
Yeah, the Muay Thai thing is full body, you know, and I'm kind of like maybe I should add a bit of leg in there. So
yeah, the Muay Thai. Well, I love it. I'm always going to promote Muay Thai first and foremost. So it's whatever you feel most comfortable with. I love Muay Thai.
Okay. Elbows, bro.
He's going to be fucking elbowing people off his wheel now.
Dude, I just had the funniest image. Somebody recommended that I go around Santorini, Ric Flair chopping all the tourists. Woo!
Jesus. Is titty day more essential than leg day? Not for me. I've got one shriveled leg, so every time I go to the gym, it is leg day, baby. It's going to be a long time for this quad to grow back. Will the DMT machine elves accept if you have nothing to give them?
They might give you a rude wake-up call. They usually they tease you. Like, I haven't seen them, but I've heard stories on accounts the elves usually flip you off and they start laughing. Like, welcome. I relate.
You when Terence McKenna was describing the machine elves, I thought this sounds like Pierre. He's a real life DMT machine elf. Any questions, folks? Make it a sentence long and end in a question mark. That would be nice for me. Stupid elves. Okay. So she likes our shirts.
Kind of red. Damn.
Can you show your nipples on YouTube?
Of course, dude.
Is that allowed?
It's double standards, bro. You know,
we're allowed to show. Oh yeah. What the fuck am I talking about? There's loads of pictures of men with their shirts off on YouTube. Sorry, I'm having a slow moment here.
Nipple privilege, bro.
Titties. What culture attracts Rishu the most? Don't know.
You like Southern European places, right?
Yeah. Well, right? I like Southern Europe, right? Yeah, Balkan, Southern European. I like it. Will you please talk on anti-Americanism? All anti-Americanism is sedition. These people should be beaten and then hanged from a high yardarm by patriots.
I'm ready.
We will tolerate no anti-Americanism here.
What do you want to know about my anti-Americanism? Because I definitely would follow into the category. I'm sorry, it did not work with me. I had no benefit from it. I didn't receive any benefits. You know.
You're just a privileged middle class American, Pierre.
You're right. Oh well.
What's more important, mental health or a safe environment? What do you think, Pappy?
I think they're one and the same. You know, I think safe is the wrong word to describe the environment. You need an environment that works, but it doesn't have to be safe. Like you still need to like be able to take risk and confront things that are unsafe, but the environment should work well with you enough.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Do you? Here's one for you and for me, I guess. Do you guys still want to travel, or do you feel like staying in one place? I think I know the answer for you.
Bro, I don't want to ever leave this fucking bubble, dude. Like what like it has everything. It has fucking everything here, man. Like I mean, what am I gonna get now? You know? I mean, I'm willing to go to certain places, but I'm really researching and also going to places where I know that I won't be looked at as like a fucking piece of shit. So, what about you?
For me, I prefer not to be looked at like a piece of shit.
I don't like that.
I'm a gypsy. I'll travel until I'm dead.
Okay.
I'm doing a tour of America. I might start formalizing cities and tour dates. The only reason I haven't started doing it yet is because I'm a tiny bit worried the Biden administration might cut off access to Europeans altogether. We shall see.
The lockdowns are coming, guys. So, how are you preparing for this shit? What are you doing about it? It's gonna come.
Well, wait.
We go through this, and then I'll ask you.
You ask me your question first, and then I shall come to Richard Bishop. That's a fine name you have, Mr. Bishop. Dick Bishop.
Lockdowns are coming again for sure.
I think.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You're gonna be
go to America where the lockdowns are. Huh?
What are you gonna do there? Even if there's no lockdowns, like, do you have a? You're just gonna chill?
No, I would work. The book will be finished by then. There's another book that book will go to Scribe, and then they'll do something proper with it, and then I might just self-publish a book.
Okay.
And then when I'm in America, I might tour with that self-published book. It'll be a shorter one, yeah, I'll go, and obviously I get 3 months, and I'd keep going back to California, spend time with my sister and the kids, and then I'd go from California to a city, and then back to California, then to a city, and back to California.
Okay.
And spread my dark poison across the land.
I'm trying to come up with a game plan right now because I'll definitely be locked down out here, and I'm just trying to figure out a route to sanity. So
I couldn't even say like go to Spain because they got locked down as well.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'll figure out something. But in terms of Richard's question,
safe for a Texan to visit in Europe with his family.
You'll be fine.
Europe's pretty safe. It's pretty safe.
Fine, man. It's like don't worry about it.
Don't just look up whatever country you're thinking of going to. I would definitely if you're an American and you've never been to Europe before, do go to the Czech Republic, because there's nowhere that has preserved medieval Europe the way the Czech Republic has that I'm aware of, in terms of the scale of Prague as a medieval city. It's pretty incredible. And if you come to Europe, you should try and see Spain and Portugal as well, because they're just amazing countries.
And it also depends on what you're looking for too. Like if you want actual warmth and openness, you can go to Spain and southern places. If you want like just maybe seeing northern lights or something a bit colder, like you go up Scandinavia. So it also depends on what you actually want to see.
Europe is amazing. Beautiful place. Best place on earth.
Such a variety out here.
Okay, the astrologers, Pierre, say that August to December won't be done until Jupiter goes back into Pisces and South Node leaves Sagittarius January 2022. Onwards should be a new chapter.
What does that mean?
It means we've got to wait for January 2022, which honestly isn't that far away. I mean, I've got 2 months before I'm supposed to be heading to America, and after 3 months in America, it'll be halfway through January. It's mad.
Did you hear what the Minister of Health said? I sent you the photo about people that are unvaccinated.
No. Where? Oh, in Czech. Yeah, they were.
Czech Republic. The Minister of Health said that like the unvaccinated are stowaways and we should treat them like that. And like some fucking like some crazy shit's gonna pop off. Like they're already saying the Delta variants are increasing in cases, and like they're preparing everybody for the next one, man.
Yeah, I would be. Well, because people, before you came on, people were asking me about they're talking about vaccine passports to get into nightclubs in September. in the first 10 minutes of the stream, and I was like, I don't even think the nightclubs will be fucking open in September. I'll be amazed if they are, because once we start getting back into flu season, I think by the end of September, October, November, I think England will be back in lockdown again.
Did I tell you that the day that I landed in Santorini, 2 days after, Mykonos locked down for a week?
Yeah, you sent me an article.
Yeah.
It locked down completely as well, right?
I think so, but they also banned music. I don't know if it was full, but they definitely had a curfew, and then they just stopped music all around the island.
Oh, sorry, mate. There's a technical question here. Which of your courses cover exercises including neuroplasticity? I don't have any exercises that specifically are there designed to induce neuroplasticity, but I do have one that incidentally does, I believe, which is the emotional literacy exercise. It's free. Go to Fortress Mental Health Protection on YouTube. Follow the instructions for the emotional literacy exercise. If you spend about 20 minutes a day doing emotional literacy exercises advertised, you will develop your neuroplasticity, I believe.
I have some insight in this. I'm always learning new things, and that's the best way. Pick up a new hobby that requires skill and discipline. That's the I think the best way to go about it. Stuff that's challenging. When you can feel the stress of like, fuck, I can't do it. That's actually your brain growing. It's just the pain of your brain expanding, making a new link somewhere there.
New tentacles growing out of your brain.
Yeah, that frustration that comes with learning something new. That's how it feels.
Yeah, push yourself outside the comfort zone, for sure. Well, sir, shall we meander towards the end of our... It's been 2.5 hours, mate. I feel like we got some good therapeutic progress there.
I'm happy now, Richard. So whenever you're ready, I fucking love it here. I'm going to stream on my second channel because I'm happy now. So anybody who usually comes around, please come around.
That's Pierre Extra. You're going to begin in 10 minutes, 15?
Yeah, like right after this.
Cool. I'm going to eat, and I'll be writing pornographic comments to distract you as much as I can on the Pierre Extra channel.
But can you send me pornographic videos on Telegram in our secret chat?
Wow. Yeah, on the secret chat. Would you want naked feet like usual?
You know me. Come on.
Naked feet.
Naked feet? A feet with no sock.
Just half the sock pulled half off. Woo! like a slutty foot. Woo! With the it's just left with half the sock off. Ooh.
What a welcome gift in Prague, man. That's what I want to see. Okay, let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Worked up.
Sociology, philosophy, religion, art, culture, and naked wank feet. You get it all on Tentacle Croissant. Thank you so much for your time and for your attention, and we look forward to speaking to you again very soon. Please take care.